Hi, boys and girls, lads and lassies, and welcome back to Let's Talk Geeky. With us is Archer Colin, Windology, and Stephen Ransom. Hi, guys.
Cheers.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
So, have you been watching anything fun?
Greetings. Hello.
Hello.
I just I watch horror movies all the time, so it's like every day is Halloween for me. But I've just been watching like whatever's on offer on Prime horror-wise, just trying to catch up on stuff. We're watching Supernatural. Ooh, hail to oh yes. Yes, nice shirt. Very nice.
Yeah,
Ruby
definitely
Bruce.
Mash Williams. Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah. Ruby Bruce. Love it.
now that's weird
Um,
because you said that, and I'm hearing Duke Nukem saying that in my head.
Duke Nukem
sure
not played that game for years and years.
I'm
and
sure
years.
hail to the king, baby. I'm sure he says that.
I don't know, but all I think is Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, he's the one with the gun. So
Yeah, so
Yeah. His
have you
boomstick.
not seen Duke Nukem?
I remember playing Duke Nukem.
I say, seems that he's the one with the gun. Yeah. As
Aye.
opposed to the chain gun, the rocket launcher, the pistol.
That's
What
been
have
a
you guys
long,
been
long
watching?
time.
did anybody catch the news that Bruce Campbell's Sergeant Rock comic book just hit the shelves?
I saw it on Twitter. I basically saw from Bruce's Twitter stream, he'd actually
Yeah, I
had
did,
a couple of
yeah.
pictures up of it.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a
Sergeant
zombie
Rock v.
episode of
Evil
Sergeant
Dead.
Rock.
Sergeant Rock v. the Evil Dead.
Oh my god, that sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kept seeing that.
Yeah.
Yep. Written
No,
by
I-
Mr. Bruce Campbell, who would know.
No, I've been unfortunately it's even more Miranda's fault. I've also started looking for comics downloads and the rest of it. And I was looking ones I remember, and I remember really old things like Nick Fury and Sergeant Rock and that. And I was looking for torrents, let's be fair, for things like and I kept seeing this one coming up was Nick Fury. Oh, sorry, was Sergeant Rock and the Evil. I thought, hold on a second, I don't know him doing that. That must have been what it was that kept coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A Bruce Campbell spin on it.
Welcome to Kel Lynch.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us. What is happening? Was there no football? I'm confused. What's happening with the Jets? Because you've been watching the Jets.
You don't play football, you play
And my
rugby.
wonderful other half, the Darren
Yes, you don't play football, you play handball.
Or rugby.
Yes, well, we also have the parkway and
And they're out.
driveway problem in our country. So, there's that. We're always turning
Yeah.
things up on their head. We park the car in the driveway and drive on the parkway. So,
Yeah.
we play football with
And
our
then
hands.
And instead of
I
a
had
pavement, you have a sidewalk, as if you know you're meant to walk down the middle. We know we walk at the side, so we call it a pavement.
Yeah, that is one of the hardest things I had to try to break the habit of when I first came here. I couldn't get used to calling it pavement because pavement for me was just like pavement, like in the middle of the road, and a sidewalk was a sidewalk,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny, like all the little differences that you have to get used to, and then now it's just like second nature. I don't even think about it.
Yeah, well, it's American. It's hard to get over, but it is. It's
American.
American.
It's American.
American. It's American.
You take
That's
the
right.
American.
The A
out
is
of
almost
America.
silent. American.
Yeah. Yeah, America, where the English words are silent.
But
Yep.
I was
Well-
talking to somebody about Scotch. We were talking about with this gentleman named in South America named Zan Zoltan, and he was telling us about special brew houses. There's certain soda companies that have been producing soda since the 50s, and according to his neighborhood, this one company is the only company to drink this style of soda from, and they've been producing it since the 50s. So I brought up bourbon, and then another person brought up Scotch, and it's like, does whiskey need to be from Scotland to be Scotch? And I'm like, well, we are calling it Scotch after all, so there must be some connection to all of that. What's your take on the whole Scotch whiskey as opposed to everybody else's whiskey?
Well, you've got whiskey, and then you've got fake whiskey.
Scotch is a type of sellotape.
Yes, Scotch.
Or eggs. Nothing to do with Scotland.
Yeah, Scotch eggs as well. An egg and breadcrumbs.
If I remember correctly. Scots or Scottish?
But mind you, I do like a sour mash whiskey.
I don't drink whiskey.
Jack
no,
Daniels.
I like my whiskey as long as it's a constituent part of Bailey's.
Oh, now
I
you're talking.
do like Baileys. I did have a couple of Baileys the last time I was on stream, and I got pished accordingly because I drank a bottle of
Yeah, but it's so easy with Bailey's because it's it's lovely. And I put some brandy in. We found out putting a bit of brandy in with the Baileys. Oh,
makes it extra strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
there's not only that, but there's several, because I can't afford Bailey's. I used to get a cake. Right,
get Ballycastle from Aldi.
Yeah, that's the one we used to get.
I say the thing is those ones, and there's several of them do their own, and they're different because some of them have got whiskey, some of them have got brandy. They're not all whiskey and milk.
Yeah. I must admit, I do like a Baileys. I do like a Jack Daniels, but I like a bourbon. I like a bullet bourbon. That's nice. If I can't get a Jack Daniels, I'll usually go for a bullet bourbon if I can get it.
I've never been much of a drinker, so all of this is just research.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big drinker, I must admit. I basically, as I said, I was at a wedding last week and I had one Jack Daniels, one beer, and a bit of some wine, and that was it. And I don't drink wine, so the wine lasted me the longest.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm not a big drinker. When I go out and it's out on the lash, as they say, I will get pished. Complete and utterly, but sometimes it's sitting with a Baileys and you don't realise you're drinking it, and you whoop, another one.
Yeah,
whoop.
Sneaks up on you, that one.
It sneaks up.
It also goes really, really nicely in hot chocolate. Drinking hot chocolate.
Oh well, that sounds delicious.
It is lovely, and it's like a little hot toddy. It's like just enough, so you get a little taste of it, and it just warms you. And it just makes you chill right out. It's just lovely.
Mm-hmm. Another ironic turn of words. You get a little warmed and then you chill out. So
a little dichotomy there.
This is certainly the season for those kinds of things. I mean, we've got mulled wine coming up, and all kinds of hot beverages. Pumpkin juice is even a thing. It's the season has got some iconic beverages and dishes.
Yeah, and I must admit, both of those you've mentioned that I avoid. Pumpkin and mulled wine. Don't like wine at all. I'm not a wine. Well, the reason I'm not a wine drinker is I'm also a skinflint. That's nothing to do with my Scottish heritage. That's just because, accordingly, one of my friends years ago was a wine drinker. He went to wine classes, wine tasting, and stuff like that. And he booked somebody to come in to do a wine tasting so he could purchase stuff. And the guy brought in 6 bottles, 3 white, 3 red. And he gave us the red. And the first one, my friend went, this is really delicious, yum, yum, yum. And I smelt it and I went, that smells like vinegar. I tried it and it tasted like vinegar. And I went, nope. Second one he get, my friend went, not as nice as the first, but this one, still okay. And I tried it and I thought, well, it doesn't smell like vinegar, but it still tastes dry and vinegar-like. And the third one, my friend went, oh, that's disgusting. And I tried it. I went, wow, like that one. He did the same with the white. The first one was so dry, I could smell it It was so dry. I was wondering if there was any liquid in the glass. And the second one, same again. It was a bit better, and the third one was delicious. And accordingly, the ones that I didn't like and he liked were like £3 a bottle. You're talking about a good 20 years ago, so it's a long time ago. Were £3 a bottle. The second one were £10 a bottle, and the third ones were £30 a bottle 20 years ago. So I realised then that if I was going to drink wine, I would be constantly skint and I wouldn't have all this behind me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would choose that over the wine, definitely. Which is
Hi,
saying
Jim.
something for me.
Skull, Jim.
Salutations,
there he is.
everybody. I heard we were talking about pumpkin, and I will say I was duped into trying a pizza a couple of days ago
Pumpkin pizza.
from a pizza place, and it was not a ham and pineapple, even though I'm kind of fond of ham and pineapple. But this
I don't
was
mind ham pineapple.
pumpkin sauce and gorgonzola cheese.
Ooh, I'd like to try that. Some of those exotic pizzas are actually quite entertaining for the palate.
I would definitely. I
One
would
of the
definitely
nicest
go.
ones
I'm
that I
not
tried,
sure.
I when I first saw it, I went, ugh, a tuna fish pizza.
No.
That sounds okay.
It was, I every time somebody got it and says, "You want to try a bit?" No, tuna fish and a pizza. Nope.
No,
And then
that
I tried
doesn't
it,
appeal.
and my God, it tasted delicious.
Yeah, I'll bet it did.
This was last week, and they didn't even tell me what it was. So it's probably like 10, 14 days ago.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me what it was. And it's like, it looked really odd because it was really bright orange. And then you had that gorgonzola melted cheese white aisle. So I thought it's like, it's kind of mozzarella and maybe paprika sauce. But nope. It was pumpkin sauce instead of tomato sauce, and then it was just melted gorgonzola cheese.
How
And
was it?
I really like it. I really liked it.
Sounds
Do
interesting.
you know what
Not
my
something I would
favourite
buy every day, but
Uh-huh.
I definitely have again.
My favourite pizza, I love ham and pineapple. That's one of my favourites. But my favourite pizza is Donna meat pizza.
Oh,
So
do
it's-
tell,
They're
please.
delicious.
Donna
what
meat
are the
is
ingredients
basically
on
just
that?
packed meat, and they just slice it off from this
I can't
big
stand that stuff.
mush. Well, I love that on a pizza with extra cheese.
Gross.
You
This one
see,
I have.
I'll one up you on that one, PJ. I like the calzone version of it. So they fold the pizza, cook the cheese and tomato sauce first, then
Yeah.
they
See, I don't
open
like
it up,
calzone because I
put
like
it.
seam. I mean, I just take over.
That's a New York thing, a calzone.
Oh,
I know,
calzone
yeah,
is definitely a
calzones over here.
Scandinavian thing, but then they
Oh,
basically fill it with a doner kebab. So all the salads, all the
Oh.
meats, all the garlic
Oh.
sauce, all the chili sauce, and it will feed 2 Vikings at minimum.
Well, put it this way: the reason it's going to feed 2 Vikings is because it's got salad in it, so I'm going to ignore it. If you
Yeah,
take
you can
that-
opt out
if you
on the
take
salad. They will just stuff the meat in.
If you take the salad stuff out, then it will do me. Never mind 2 other people. I have done that before. Had
Oh,
a meal
you
for
haven't
2.
seen these ones. They're called the Viking pizza. They are on these people that go around the world and do food challenges to see if they can eat it. Very few gets through a Viking pizza.
I can name one person who would get through it. My friend.
Oh,
James.
I'm
He would
certain there are
class it as a snack.
plenty of
He
them
would
out there.
class
But...
it as a snack. So he would.
Oh no! This is definitely not the snack. This is the one pushing the
No.
time limit.
One of my friends, James, he would class that as a snack.
I was gonna see
He's
if I
like
can
that-
dig
he's
up a
like
photo
that, and
for
his
you.
appetite is amazing. Basically, when we're out together, we would go to when we work together, we would go to an all you can eat every day. So we would for lunch, and we would even I would get to the point where we'd be going after the time ready to go to work, and he would still be sitting there going another half hour. And there was, but I'm still the only one from the 2 of us that left an all-you-can-eat buffet and got a doggy bag
Nice.
because I complained there wasn't enough food out, so they gave me 2 pizzas as a doggy bag. So yes, we have done that, but yeah, my friend Mind you, he does look like the one that's on your shoulder at the moment, but he's got an appetite makes me look as if I'm actually starving all the time.
Yeah, don't you hate it? You know, people like that have a really fast metabolism, so they can eat like anything. And
Yeah, I have a brother like that who
Yeah,
he
it
quite
just goes.
literally is eating all day, and he's 151 pounds, like
Wow.
lean, like Aquaman lean.
Mm,
He's a
I know.
cyclist,
Wow.
but he's also like a bunny rabbit mixed with a shark. So he needs to keep moving and keep eating, otherwise he won't be able to continue to function.
Don't tell the Sci-Fi Network about that. Bunny Shark. That'll be the next film.
Bunny shark, yes, that's what we need in America. That's what we need.
Hopping
Hollywood,
sharks.
get on that.
Kelly, I put slow mode on and I put it subscribers only to chat just to keep out the trolls and the porn and
it
everything.
makes such a difference. It really
it takes
is.
about 30 seconds, so you can only post one every 30 seconds.
But that will probably cut down on your views.
It's worth it in one sense, I
true,
suppose.
definitely.
Basically, they can still view, but they just can't post.
Oh, yes, it's true. Yeah.
So they can come in and try, and it'll give me a view. So.
Yeah.
No, but I found you used to have to do it within the control panel, and now your YouTube's got the bit down the side. You can just click it and actually just put subscribers only without having to go through all the bits that I keep messing around with.
That's good. I need to, because a lot of these new features, some of the newer YouTubers out there are just oblivious to some of these other functionalities. And nobody likes to have, trolls come in there. They're like, where did you come from, you nasty little creature? What's going on? Yeah, some people come into your chat and just start disrupting things for no reason other than to disrupt them.
Bots, really,
when you're creating your stream, you've got the 4 buttons down the side, and one says customization. You can go in there and you can put slow mode on within that, and you can do subscribers only and stuff like that. You can change the time for the slow mode and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite handy.
Did anybody see the Deadpool trailer or teaser?
I saw the bit where he's just talking to the legs going up the stairs.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing.
Come on to the next one. Yeah, that sounds fine. That's all I saw of it.
That's the whole thing, actually. I think.
I'm just wondering if they want to tell us something. That why is Ryan Reynolds apparently advertising his film from Hugh Jackman's living room?
Well, they are very, very close, and of course, Hugh Jackman was reluctant, so Ryan had to go down. I mean, get happy. I mean, to try to put a hole in it. I mean, he was, doing his thing, Ryan.
Oh no, I'm just saying it's just I thought it was an odd one doing it, and obviously doing it at someone's house. I mean, the fact that he got Hugh Jackman to show up is great.
Mm-hmm. The cheapest Marvel feature film commercial ever, and Ryan knows how to bring the cheap advertising. He's so good at that. Yeah. He probably quite literally just set up a camera and said, "No, we're going to do it this way. This is how we're going to do it. Got an advertisement for you kids. You Jackman, just walk up the stairs. That'll be good enough. Done. Finished. One take."
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Yeah. So what else have you been watching? Anything fun this week? Apart from, obviously, I saw some of the trailers for She-Hulk. Well, no trailers. Some of the reviews for She-Hulk, Rings of Power, stuff like that.
You said fun. What's that got to do with it?
Well, watching the reviews was fun. Watching Night Tights, them all losing it was fun. Watching Shad lose it was fun. I was speechless. No, I wasn't. I was shouting. But I've actually finished watching My Name is Earl again.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm now started watching Superman the animated series. So I've been going through bits and pieces. I obviously watch Plebs and stuff like that as well, but I've got a few things on my list and I'm catching up with things that I've missed. So now Superman the animated series. Yeah. And right after it, I can finish V, the final battle, then the TV show.
Yeah.
So I've managed to get a hold of them. So it's been fun.
I just started reading Who Goes There in preparation for Roman of the Empires thing coming up this Thursday on the history of the story and it, going from book incarnation to black and white sci-fi to the 80s classic of the thing.
Cool.
And the book
Are you
wonderful.
watching the original Thing from Another Planet?
Yeah. We're not going to be watching it. We're going to be basically just kicking the idea around. But I've seen it in the past. The book was the only thing I hadn't seen, and Roman bumped me a copy. So I'm slowly getting through it. Going to go to a cafe this evening and probably get into it some more. So, but the writing is classic, 1930s science fiction, adventure story, and the way they describe Redding, he's a titan of a man. They describe him like the Bronze Man. Actually, they literally use the term Bronze Man as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's Doc Savage then.
Indeed. He's supposed to be like a Doc Savage character in the book. So that was really enlightening for me. I was like, whoa, okay, now I get it. A man of power. The whole room stops and something steps out of the shadows that reminds everyone of some mythical character. I was like, wow, guys, talk about an entrance. This guy's a pretty powerful character. It's so fun.
I actually need to dig out the Doc Savage stuff. That was actually quite good. It's been a while since I watched that. I've got Tarzan on my list, the original Tarzan movies. Obviously, I've got them from Buster Crab. I've got one Buster Crab one, and I've got, what do you call him? God, he did Doc Savage. I can never remember his name. The one that played the original Tarzan.
George.
Johnny Weissmuller.
Johnny Weissmuller. I've got most of Johnny Weissmuller's, but it's the one that actually played the one that did Doc Savage as well.
Ron Eli.
I
was going to say, Doc Savage for me looks very much like Tarzan because they're both Ron Eli.
Yeah. So basically, I've got the Buster Crab one. I've got a load of Johnny Weissmuller ones, and I've got a few Ron Eli stuff as well. And that's on my list. But I'll need to dig out the Doc Savage stuff as well because I remember that as well with Ron Eli. So fun stuff.
Have you ever read Philip Jose Farmer's books? He did one on Doc Savage, and he's done one on Tarzan. And they're both supposedly true biographicals of the actual characters.
No,
I think he did one of Buck Rogers as well.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, they are. It's Doc Savage's Apocalyptic Life is the Doc Savage one, if I remember right.
It's kind of uncanny how many people don't realize that Doc Savage has a Fortress of Solitude and Superman stole it.
Yeah.
I was just watching what Kelly said.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, watch the Weather Channel. I'm not surprised. I think we're getting the back end of it. It's been pelting for the last 3 days here.
Yes, we've been raining on and off here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and over here in the States, I will say that some people lost their internet. There's been some hanky-panky going on the ground, but all the people I know have survived it.
You need to actually find something else to do.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's this is for an 18-year-old channel. But we'll not talk about hanky panky. Yeah, I know there's been a load of weird stuff happening. I've been watching bits and pieces on Twitter, so I have.
Yeah, but all the people I know in the chats and on YouTube that are in Florida have survived. I haven't heard of any sort of tragedy or anything like that. But the biggest tragedy I heard of in the States, I don't know if you guys caught any bit of this, but the lefties had to go ahead and make a deification of it and said, this serves you right. You guys never should have gone against Disney and, serves you right. You got a hurricane. God brought a hurricane upon you.
The whole don't say gay nonsense bill and whatever it was. Come on. Two years ago, these same idiots were going, oh, nobody fears when it's a male hurricane, so they sit in their front lawn and whatnot, and if there's a female name, it's like, what?
Oh, dear God, they didn't, did they?
Yeah, they actually did, and they didn't realize that a meteorologist, they have an alphabetical system, and they go, one is male, the next one is female, the next one is male, and it goes A, B, C, D. So you have Albert, you have Betty, you have Charles, you have Diana.
In fact, if they go through, that means that every single that means we'll never have a Hurricane Joe.
But do we have a Hurricane Dazzle? That's what I want to know. Is there a non-binary storm coming our way anytime in the near future?
I don't think the meteorologists have been infected just yet, Stephen, but don't give them ideas, because when we get non-binary storms, that's going to screw us up.
Yeah, hurricanes are like Star Trek movies. You're just scared of every second one.
No, but I didn't realise they did it that way, because what that obviously means that A's will always be male, A's will always be males, B's will always be females, because there's an even number.
No, they rotate that as well when they reset the alphabet.
Right, so they swap it over. Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
Yes, so there might be 2 female or 2 male names together when they rotate around.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
but I saw someone make a comment about what's done the most damage to America, and to which my comment was Hurricane Joe.
Well, Mr. Alzheimer's might still be doing damage.
You only vote in Hurricane Joe once every 4 years.
And it wouldn't be so bad if he didn't keep cycling around the same issues over and over and over again and fumbling.
I've seen him on a bike. He doesn't cycle. I've seen him fall off his bike, so I can't see he's cycling around.
He's such a cartoon character.
Kelly,
I can't believe this. I am still always the one that is like really big skeptic. So when Trump came into power, I was just going to like, even when he like announced that he was going to run for president, I thought this has got to be some kind of like super meme 4D chess. It's like, haha, I got you. I'm like pulling out last second before, like literally the night before the election. And everything from there on, I always had that skepticism. But what I'm seeing now from the number 46, is someone pulling my chain and I can't figure this out? Is this what's going on? He's shaking hands with ghosts. What? Forgets things and shouts at people.
Come on, man. Ghosts are people too. It's the Halloween season. Get into it.
You know who I feel sorry for in that?
How is this a better choice?
Who has to sign for Joe Biden?
Inclusivity.
Yeah,
but how is this a better choice than the one that was there before? Because at least that one was a little bit hilarious. You could always laugh at his Twitter memes.
Yeah.
It's not the president we need. It's the president we deserve.
And we've all got one of those. We've got a first minister we deserve.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I got something for you a little bit later on.
Oh.
My Halloween stuff is coming along quite nice as well.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
So is that what you're going to do for Pick of the Week? You're going to show us your background?
But partially. Pick of the Week is not technically any video geeky stuff. It's more, I'm a man and this is my man cave.
It's the pick of the week. It doesn't need to be DVDs or whatever, or figures. It's just whatever, isn't it? It's our pick, what we've picked up. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him Horatio. Wendy was just talking to it. I can see the mouth moving. Alas, poor Yorick.
I gave him a book as well.
Someone's done Shakespeare.
I saw a gentleman had displayed the latest incarnation of a Blu-ray. I think it's a 4K up-res of what is it? Cloak and Dagger, the old the spy story. from the 80s. It's like little kid and his imaginary friend is an actual super spy. Does anybody remember this?
The
I
only
think I
close
do,
antagonist
yeah.
I
That
remember
sounds
was the
familiar.
Marvel comic.
Yeah,
I
I remember
the
it
Marvel
vaguely,
comic.
but it was
But
literally
that's what I
on you had to sneak past your parents to turn on the TV on the lowest volume in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning or whenever it was.
3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, remember, my daughter was born the year we went 24 hours. So when I was young, I couldn't sneak down the stairs, turn it on at the middle of the night, because all I ever got was.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
We only got
I bet-
24 hours when my first daughter was born, which is great, because that way I could feed her and sit like that.
In Scandinavia, we did have like it wasn't a rebel channel per se. It was, say they were the first challenger that you could ever conceive toward BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. So they weren't publicly funded. They had to go private, commercials, all of that. And I recall this must have been 1990s, maybe 89. I know, when did the Turtles cartoon come out? Because that's kind of, I know I'm conflating it because they used to show a lot of junk.
Was that not 84, the Turtles, or was that 94?
Feels like the 80s.
Yeah, it was somewhere in the 80s, but that was one of the first one. And they used to show that at like 9 o'clock in the evening. It's like, that's way too late for young kids to see. But I wasn't young exactly, but they used to show some really weird stuff. And that's also, by the way, for you, PJ, how I came across Red Dwarf. That was that channel that brought it across.
PJ, somehow back in the day, I bet Jeremy Corbyn didn't stay up to watch to watch when the BBC closed, because he'd have to sit with the national anthem.
Yes, that's true. They used to do the national anthem. Yeah, you see the state. Did you see the state of London that they're refusing to put a statue of the Queen?
Oh, Jesus!
Oh my God!
There's not enough space, but I think they've got two.
There is not enough space to put up a statue of the longest reigning monarch, but we're going to reserve that pillar to put up butt plugs.
Yes, they've got some of the stuff they've got in it is basically.
It's basically sex toys that you use in your bedroom.
Yeah, and they just want kids to see it. That's what it is. It's all just, you can see how the perversion of the Mayor of London.
Well, the best bit I think about that though was that I think it was on Lotus Eaters. There's some channel who've done something. What they've done is they've done a fully and utterly progressive thing. They've gone up to this statue of this guy that murdered British soldiers and murdered British settlers. That's now on that fourth plinth, and they put up a plaque giving historical context.
And they would have been arrested for it.
No, they would. They show photos of it. They put up because literally just the sort of warning historical context for these things. They put up historical context on this guy, the fact that he murdered unarmed British farmers and this sort of thing. And I can't see how they can object to that, because I mean that's what they do.
No, but that's
you can immediately tell who the people are that fell asleep during history class when they went through school. Because what was it? Bristol or Brighton, where they chucked the founder of the city's statue into the river, forgetting that the town square, the town university or college, dozens of roads, dozens of buildings, dozens of museums, everything was named after him.
Yeah. Well, there was a thing a while ago which I thought absolutely, unless I'm slightly misremembering, showed was the most ironic thing ever. There was some guy at I think it's Oxford, but it could be Cambridge University, who wanted to pull down a statue of Cecil Rhodes, and the guy was there on a Rhodes scholarship.
God.
Yes, this idiot was on
But
a
Colin,
scholarship.
you cut out there.
Sorry, this guy is at one of the big universities.
Well, did you not see the most recent one about the half-wit girl who poured a bucket of shite all over Captain Tom memorial?
No way.
Yep. And it was basically, I think it
Oh
was
my
a
God.
climate, surprise, a climate activist standing there, quite the thing, smiling away.
I'm sorry, Captain Tom or Honorable, was it Lieutenant, whatever he got for walking all those ups and downs and everything. Yeah,
Yep.
like largest GoFundMe
Yes,
whatsoever.
he raised over $1 million. Was it 4 million or 8
something
million?
ridiculous. He wanted to raise £1,000.
Yeah, and
I
he
think.
raised millions.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if I can find it.
I think Her Late Majesty actually promoted him to, even though he's obviously been out there for a long time, I think he was given an honorary.
It was honorary title, but it's
Yeah.
like lieutenant or whatever the next rank up was.
Yeah, would have been major because he was the captain.
Yeah.
It would have been the least major, if not more. No, I don't know how much of that came through, but what was this guy? This was all this fuss about Cecil Rhodes and Rhodesia and colonialism and all this totally historically ignorant crap. And he wanted to cancel Cecil Rhodes, which is why I wanted, because the only reason he was at university was that he was on a scholarship founded by Cecil Rhodes. He was on a Rhodes scholarship.
Couldn't make it up with you.
Yeah, there you go. Young woman pours a bucket of human feces and waste over memorial of Captain Tom Moore in Hatton. And on her t-shirt says
that explains why that was trending earlier.
It basically says in private.
I'm getting infuriated when I'm seeing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Britain is one of the most unique nations throughout history. Yes, we did colonialism. We conquered the world because, yes, we were better than you freaking losers. You didn't know what to do to defend against us coming in and like stealing your land and your everything. But we were also the first one. Well, yeah, the Vikings may have taught the Britons how to do it, but UK, Britain, which I consider myself part of because I've been here through 3 different decades now. It's so unique that when it decided, okay, hang on, we've done a lot of things. It's maybe you guys should rule and govern yourself and all that. So we will give you a country back to you. Immediately, these countries applied to be part of our Commonwealth.
Yeah.
To literally rejoin the ranks. It's like, okay, thank you for giving it back. Can we rejoin?
This is why I was really, really pissed me off about these ignorant twats going on about Her Majesty overseeing colonialism. No, you F-wits. She oversaw the end of our colonial era. And as you say, there are now more people, there are now more countries in the Commonwealth than there were in the British Empire, because people keep wanting to join. So we must have done something right.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also the aspect of it as well. Did you see the one about that Don Legolas, Don Lemon, who basically had the woman and they talked about reparations, and it was an English professor, fantastic. And she basically went through them, says, quite agree, considering Britain spent millions of pounds odd at the day, ending it 2 years before America did, and over
if you paid tax in United Kingdom in 2016, you helped pay reparations for ending slavery.
But that's what I'm saying. But she basically says, yes, that's right, because it should go back to the source, and it was black kings selling subjects that they captured to people, and it was the British.
Is this where we're going to touch on the woman king now?
Yeah, no, we're thinking.
Not
But
fucking
the
help
thing
it.
is, and she says, so yeah, there was over 2,000 British sailors that died trying to end slavery. So reparations to their family would be good. And if you're going to get reparations from the people who did the slavery, go to Africa and get those African kings' descendants to pay reparations. That'd be a good idea. And it basically just went clump.
He's faced with them. I know that he's not had a good week because a little while later he was going.
He got sacked. Sorry,
no,
he stepped down.
No, he got smacked again because he was talking to some meteorologist and he kept trying to say link the hurricanes to climate change, and the meteorologist shut him down flat. Said no. But
then again, there's also the people now who are saying about the climate catastrophe and how the world is warming are the same people in 1977 were warning us about the second ice age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they kind of get it right, and they basically, accordingly, there's been 18 times that they've been warned that by a certain time the world would be catastrophically ending because of climate change, and they've done it something like 16 times, and every time they've given a date, nothing's changed.
The doom cults and everything. But can we not just agree, everybody, that we fixed a couple of things? The world is definitely a better place than it was a couple of 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's ignore the wrongs and focusing on bringing
Don't be
forward
silly.
better.
They can't do that because they can't be victims. They can't be victims if they ignore the wrongs.
Yeah, I know, but at least this is my mindset. It's we fixed it. There may have been some wonky areas and whatnot, but at least there is no slavery. Well, still some slavery in certain parts of the world, but it's largely gone. It's not like a world trading industry. It's not like 160 nations are engaged in it, and it's the main trade to make money.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. It's just all these things just nuts. That's why as soon as somebody starts spouting it, I just go switch off. Don't even listen to them. And as somebody says on Twitter, if you lie about something so easily debunked and you know it's a lie, then anything else you say, I have to assume you're lying about, because you lie about things that anybody could check and say, well, that's obviously a lie. It's not as if you're lying about things it's difficult to find out. If you're lying about the things that are so commonly known that you can find out within minutes, then I just assume you're lying about everything else, even things we can't find about. So
Kelly,
it doesn't matter if you're telling the truth, it's just a lie.
Kelly, you're absolutely right, and I don't think anybody wants to disrespect those sacrifices at all. I suspect where she may be coming from was the fact that, and particularly on your side of the Civil War is something that everybody knows about, and is a very valid, absolutely valid argument. But I think the point she was probably trying to make was that people just don't know about these other things that happened. I think that's what she was saying. I don't think she was, from what I saw during you, I don't think she was trying to in any way downput your.
No, I know.
Staying on Kelly's comment there, it is one of my favorite films. Throughout the time from Hollywood, it's actually Gettysburg. And it shows so many layers of nuance between captains and commanders and generals and foot soldiers on the front line, even to captive slaves being caught up by the armies. How many people died, even though this is I think it's 1/12 of the scale of how big the actual battle was. They used real reenactors.
Yeah.
They had something like 15,000 people on the fields marching with helicopter cameras and everything flying over and just showing the movement. And apparently for early 90s, they had smartwatches. So when your watch bust, you were hit. You were supposed to just fall over, pretend to be dead. That is what I heard. I haven't looked into it too much, but what I heard is they had watches that had a certain amount of minutes on them, and they would buzz or beep, and they would supposed to fall over when that happened.
Wow, there's an interesting way to manage a large scale set like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 15,000 people. How do you even fucking do the catering for that? I did catering. Well, catering. I did cooking when I did my voluntary military service, and that was only for like 60 people. And bloody hell, those people like wolves.
Okay, anything 3, everybody's like, oh, wolf, come on.
Yeah, but 60 people, 15,000 people. Imagine being the catering staff. It's like,
yeah, we call it craft services around here, and it's a whole industry in the entertainment.
Yeah, it is really impressive, and I've seen fast food restaurants that not like McDonald's. I'm talking the what's it called, blue collar kind of people, where you have a small restaurant set up next to a big like industrial plant or whatever, where you have people covered in oil and whatever, and overalls and dirty hands and everything. They just come in, they grab a plate, and it's like, sit down, munch it down, and then they're out again. And they're literally in and out in 5 minutes. So you need to clean it up, pick it up, cook the next meal. It is just so impressive.
It's sadly, I think the health department was the one that stopped that kind of food service, where it would just be cafeteria style or the automat style, where there would be just a little door and your food would be on a plate, and it was always just coming in fresh. But that kind of service somehow got lost. Even people in city of Los Angeles are starting to take those lovely little displays where you've got, donuts under a big glass dome, and you could just pull the dome up, grab your donut, and put it back down again, and all that kind of old school behavior with food processes is possibly to be lost. I don't know. We'll have to see.
It's because
it's definitely,
they want it done now. They want it. They don't want to wait for anything, and then they also want to complain because it's not fresh. It's basically, that's the idea. It's basically, people have been taught that you get it now by fast food, but as soon as they walk in and say, right, I want this, but I don't want what's on the shelf. I want this, and I want it done this way and that way. Right, that'll be about 10 minutes. What? It's not ready already. As if people go in and expect what they want specifically is already sitting there, but they don't want the stuff that's sitting there. They want theirs done specially, and then they wonder why they have to wait for it. It's people's attitude is that whatever you want is there whenever you want it, which is wrong.
I might reveal my age, but I'm not sure if this was something that was ever common, because I'd never seen it here in the UK. But when I was growing up in Scandinavia, we literally had one of those container barracks in the middle of the forest somewhere. Stuff needed to be cleaned up, drained, trees to chop and whatever. But you had that container barrack. It was set up. And in that container barrack, you had a heating box. You prepped your meal the morning before, and it was a metal tin can. And you put in mash, some sausages, a little bit of tomato, and whatnot. And then you had a little bit of the fresh stuff. You put in the tin box into the heating unit when you arrived at like 6:30 in the morning. And about 11:30, when it was time for lunch, it had kept the temperature completely well throughout the day. And you just open it up, you had a hot meal ready to go, munched it down, and back out you went. Chopping wood, felling trees.
The usual stuff everybody does on a daily basis.
Well, what Roughnecks would do, because I know I did, despite me being an IT geek for the last quarter of a century, that was just a fluke. So I grew up with the logging and timber industry, the mining
Well,
industry.
that's sort of roughneck.
Yeah.
I know, and I didn't grow up with. I'm a similar idea, but mine was building work. I was basically worked in building sites. I was a monumental polisher, made headstones, basically all that. I just fell into computing because I didn't like coming in every night and actually having to actually stand there until I got all the dust off me before I could have something to eat. So going for the shower, getting new clothes on, making sure all my work stuff was put aside so it didn't get dust all over the place. And I just thought, I need to change. So I decided I had two syllabuses, accounting or computing. And I went, pick one.
Computing.
I flipped the coin and I ended up on computing. I could have been on the accounting side because I could work with numbers and computing just sounded cool.
God, I know how you feel, PJ. Working with stone, there's just no escape. All of a sudden, you're starting to recite dialogue from Anakin Skywalker, and you're like, it just gets everywhere.
Just does it everywhere. And you're talking about, I was a monumental polisher, so terrazzo work, marble, and I would polish it so it would be fine grained dust all over me.
And you're tasting it and smelling it, and it's in your ears, and it's on the tips of your eyelashes. And God, what a mess.
Yep. Exactly.
Remember this for when it's time for the pick of the week, because this is the one part I haven't solved yet on my silly man flu, shall we say, inspired buying spree. I will still try to keep it vague, but yeah, I think you will quickly figure out what it is when it comes to it gets absolutely everywhere.
Body glitter. Body glitter.
No, I'm not doing a complete ass from heels versus babyface just yet, but yeah, the stuff will get absolutely everywhere, and I need to build something that will reduce it, although it cannot eliminate it.
Don't fool us, Jim. We know that when you stand in the sunlight, you twinkle. So, don't try to
when
pull
I
the wool
stand
over
in the
our eyes.
sunlight, aliens from like 9 billion light years away can see me.
They're like, egads, we need to visit that planet Earth more often. I can't believe Jim the Viking is a being on Earth. We must visit.
I don't think they were saying a being. I think they were just saying a bee on Earth.
Yeah, it might be a bee.
You want to see a funny, right?
Yeah, there we go.
My working days. That was our mask to make sure the dust didn't come in it, get in one mouth.
Wow.
This looks like someone from day one of the COVID global lockdown.
Basically, that was us. Who said we had nothing to do with our time?
That's amazing. That's an amazing shot.
I miss those days because you made fun of what you had. If you were a kid back in the days, no Nintendo, no computers, no Netflix, whatever. Sun went up, you went out into the forest, you found a twig. Aha, I have a sword. I will challenge you to a duel. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
You killed
No, I am your father.
No, I am your father.
Oh my God! I'm just looking through some of these pictures. Oh my God!
I am Spartacus. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
That's fantastic, PJ. It's so ironic to see you guys having such a jolly good time doing all kinds of size tricks with the camera. Meanwhile, surrounded by gravestones.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's a bit like, people that work, sometimes when you work the night shift or you work in a morgue or something, it's sort of like develop certain coping mechanisms to just
Mhm.
you know, that
Fine
turn
to
into
do.
almost like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Look how
like a
bad that
yeah, a
is.
very
Look
deep
at
sense of
the
humor.
hair. Look at that.
PJ,
hair.
is that you playing Bob Dylan? Because you look awfully Bob Dylan in that shot.
That's me with hair. Yes, that was me. That's my father. I was about 15, 16 then.
Oh, that's
So,
fantastic.
A
That's cracking.
long, a good 40 odd years ago.
Yeah, a long
I had
time
hair. I had
ago.
hair up there. Now I've got it down here.
In Scotland, far, far away.
Yeah, but my God. I was just looking through the pictures because I obviously came across that, but it's just a case of some of the weird photos. Even school photos. You want to see me actually in the school play? Guess the movie. Yeah, guess the what we were actually doing. Hold on. Come on. Share the right screen, you bugger.
Oh
Spot
my
what one.
God.
What a
Spot the
great
one.
What was it called? Something with monkeys that was
Nope.
popular back in those days.
We were the mods. The other group were the rockers. So it was two gangs.
So your shoes are not showing. That's basically how you identify the mods.
No, the mods were all the pinstripe, the ties, and all that stuff.
Yeah, but the shoes were adding to it because the punks were trying to steal it from them.
I know, we had all the pinstripes. So they were the mods. The other group were the rockers. It was about two gangs.
We need a mouse over. Which one is you?
Guess.
I'm going to say the Mike Myers looking chap.
No, I know which one. I think I do anyway.
Uh-huh. Right, go on. What one?
It's far right hand with the sunglasses on.
That's me, yeah. That's Muggins here. That's me.
Nice.
Oh, that was the teacher.
That's a jam.
That's a nice tash for being so young.
I was about 15, so
yeah, that's
so that's the jam t-shirt.
Sure.
So we were the mods, and the other group was the rockers. It's about two gangs. So guess the movie.
I'm trying to think of a part of Glasgow which is on the west. West Gorbal Story.
This was actually Easter. This is over the East End, so it was the East Side Story.
Oh,
this was the Easter House Story. So basically, that was us doing our version of the West Side Story. We were the East Side Story.
So you were plagiarising Hollywood, plagiarising Shakespeare.
Yes, in effect. But God, they just actually seeing these pictures is hilarious because the age. Oh, I forgot I'd actually kept that one. Has anybody tried this? Jack Daniel's Sinatra blend. Sinatra selected.
Not yet.
I got that for my 50th from a friend.
Oh, sweet.
And I kept it until my wedding day, and I finished the last of it. My wife was used to shout at me because I wouldn't let her drink it because it was the equivalent of having a tenner a shot. It was
I heard that the secret to that particular brew was that they did it their way.
Yeah.
Getting a Burger King vibe.
Yeah, basically Sinatra actually liked Jack Daniels, so they actually did a Sinatra select, and it was only for him until he passed, and then they actually started selling it.
Wow.
So
it's pretty awesome.
Place in the home Lincoln Center. I didn't know that, but it's just even looking through these pictures just as I was going through that. Oh my God, some of these are horrible pictures, and I ain't showing them. Oh God. Some of them are actually okay. Some of them are just freaking awful.
I think I've probably got more photographs of me from 650 years ago than I have from me today. So I used to hate having my photo taken.
See, I was quite happy getting my photo taken. And look how bad this one is, right? Look, obviously, I was a while ago. That was before. I think my daughters were only about 2-3 years. That's about 30 odd years ago. Look. Recognise what the badge is?
Red Dwarf.
Yeah, dwarf. So even then, I was a big geek.
Right.
That was obviously me going fishing.
I would love to know. You're probably in a similar situation to me, PJ, albeit a little bit younger. I'd love to know. I've never been able to work out if I was always the kind of person who would have been a science fiction fan and who was drawn to sci-fi and fantasy, or if I'm a sci-fi fan because there was so much of it about in my childhood, and that's what I remember, that's what I filter through. I'm always wondering about cause and effect for those.
See, the thing is, I never even thought that, but I've always been a sci-fi fan because I grew up watching Saturday morning stuff, so it was like Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon.
Yeah. But
then again, also like things like the Banana Splits, who used to show you cartoons, and it was like you would have Spider-Man and stuff like that on.
There was one I remember. I don't know if it was Banana Splits or not, but I've got this vague memory of a cartoon set in a post-apocalyptic world where but basically the ice age has come back, and I've got this really vague image of a cartoon. I think it was from something like the Banana Splits, where it's basically, I say it's a future thing, but it's set in a future where the ice caps have extended out again. So we're in another.
Oh, was that the one that was fighting polar bears?
Possibly. I've just got this really.
I recognise that, but I don't know if it was on that, because the one I remember from the Banana Splits was the Arabian Nights.
Oh God, yes.
The Arabian Nights. That was fun.
I was going to go down a completely different route on that one, but Banana Splits is definitely something I also came across. But I see the sci-fi genre is a lot older than the fantasy genre. Because, yes, we consider Tolkien to be the father of the fantasy thing. But if you look at what's the author names? Raymond, you have Asimov, you have all of them. They came long before him, and they told stories about what they saw the future was going to. But people like Tolkien, they were looking backwards to see where did we actually came from. So always seen them as two different directions.
How does that work with the tales of the Round Table or Milton, or it's more importantly, how does that calculate with the existence of Don Quixote, who was basically reciting fantasy? Or
exactly, this is where it becomes sci-fi or sci-fi. So it's more fantasy than the fiction to the science. And I'm one of those few that I didn't disagree when the Sci-Fi Channel went to the Syphilis Channel in terms of branding, because they actually highlighted that there is an overlap between science fiction and fantasy. There's a big overlap. Sometimes one actually tries to look the other way rather than just going their specific route. Because if you think sci-fi, science fiction, it's Star Trek, it's teleporters, it's scanners, it's bioscanners, it's all of these things, is warp speed and everything. But if you think fantasy, you think Aragon, magical swords, trained, skilled woodsman, hunter, living off the land.
Yeah,
That
castles,
is
magical staffs, dragons.
That is not a science fiction character. Science fiction character has a lot of magical tricks. I think it was Arthur C. Clarke that literally described it the best. It's like any sufficiently advanced technology to an unknown or unknowingly person or untrained person would be magic to them.
Any sufficient advanced technology will be indistinguishable from magic. Or to put it another way, a magician walks into a dark cave. He says a magic spell, magic word, and the sun erupts in the middle of the room. Alternatively, Alexa, lights.
Yep.
Shut up!
Yep.
Don't you fucking Alexa, shut up!
Shut up. I'll have to remember to say Siri lights on that one at some point, won't I?
Yes.
I know there is a lot of people out there that have the command, Alexa, turn media center off, which kills the computer, the TV center, everything, because they literally want to go like shut everything off.
The nearest I've got to that is just a couple of lights because it's easy for me, but I would
You
never
change your wake word.
And I did change it, but I kept forgetting it.
Yeah.
That's
one of the problems, yeah.
Because you only get 3 options. You get the name, you get computer, and you get another one. I can't remember what the third one is. And the problem is when you're streaming and you mention computer, it would go off anyway. So you don't get to make your own up. And that was the problem. So you would forget, and then you would go shouting at it going, do this, and it would go.
You see, this is my living through this, having my own units that do voice commands and everything. In the whole of Star Trek, why have not a single enemy come up with the idea of computer initiate self-destruct? 5 seconds, silent. Why haven't they?
But that's too easy.
Yeah, why haven't they?
Remember, they did do it, but they always have it so it gives time to evacuate. But and remember, wasn't it Ratha Khan? It was he says disable voice notification, and it was just so when they came in, they were looking around, and then they just looked, and then they saw the countdown.
But that was a tactical one to know that the ship wasn't, so they didn't get clued in on the fact that the ship was in self-destruct mode. They thought they were assaulting a ship that was in red alert mode. And I will say Star Trek Enterprise does this really well with the weapons commander thing when he's trying to actually invent the red alert thing.
Oh, nice. I remember that episode. That was so much fun.
It was so much fun because it's like, what was actually the best thing? And I'm coming up with something in about 2 weeks' time for work. I need to present a creative way that I have not been telling my company for the last 4 years that I've been with my company about why would you want to apply for my job role if you would like it. So how do you interestingly describe what you're doing so someone else might be interested in learning how to do it?
Has anybody seen this one? Burniston. It's about using voice recognition in Scotland.
That looks familiar.
Right. I'll need to stop it every so often so we don't get hit too often, but
what's the buttons?
Oh no, they installed voice recognition technology in this lift. I heard about this.
Voice recognition technology in a lift in Scotland.
In Scotland.
Aye. So voice recognition stuff
in Scotland. You ever tried voice recognition technology?
No.
They don't do Scottish accents.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
11. 11.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
And I can honestly say this has happened to me. Actually, try to get the thing to actually recognize it.
I did this. What was it? The 2003 Windows Server version came out, and it had like voice recognition from Windows. And it said, okay, you need to talk to your computer for about 3 months before it has a good baseline to understand what you're saying. It's like, what?
Yeah. But, right, so let's continue a wee bit.
11.
Whose idea was this? You need to try an American accent.
11. 11. Sounds Irish, no American.
What, doesn't it?
11. Where in America is that? Dublin.
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
Try an English accent. 11. 11.
You for the same part of England as Dick Van Dyke?
Please speak slowly and clearly.
Smart house.
11.
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
And as you can see, it's only a 3-minute clip, but I'll skip on a bit.
11.
11. 11. 11. 11.
I'll just take his head out of your cow. Calm.
Because he knew that the honest to Scottish people would be going out for nuts at it.
You have not selected a floor.
We have 11.
If you would like to get out of the elevator without selecting a floor, simply say, "Open the doors, please."
Please. Please. Suck my wally. I'm not big enough for nothing. Open the doors, please. Please. Pathetic.
Please remain calm.
Just wait for it to speak.
You have not selected a floor.
Here's your cow. You don't answer these doors. I'm going to come to America. I'm going to find whatever desperate actress gave you a voice, and I'm going to go in an electric chair for you. Scotland, Jack Bastard. Scotland! Scotland!
Oh, that's great.
Now, every time I actually remember having to set up voice recognition stuff on the software, and it gave you a couple of sentences to recognize your voice, it would constantly say to me, "Please repeat." And it was the same idea. It's a case of suddenly speaking with a different accent. Hello. And you're sitting there, and then you would speak to it, and it would go, "Please repeat." Fuck up. So yeah, I used to remember that. And then when I first saw that, I thought, yep, been there. So that's the type of thing that happens when every time I hear Alexa or Sharp or anything like that doesn't recognise my voice. That's where I end up like, read up, you bastard. But yeah, that's definitely.
But you don't have it that bad, PJ. You just have a different. Well, everybody else have a different accent to you.
Yeah, well, actually,
but where I grew up,
everybody else does.
Where I grew up, it's not as floral of a language as the English language is. Where I grew up, it was literally salt. And the way you pronounced it included please, thank you, and all the recognition. But here in United Kingdom, if you sit at a family gathering, you would have to say, "Would you please be as so kind to pass me the salt, please?" Whereas in Scandinavian language, Viking language, salt included all of that. One word saved a bucket load of time. Didn't need to waste anybody else's time. And you got what you wanted.
That's the thing. It's modern technology. Working in IT, I think modern technology is definitely one of the worst things that's ever happened to us.
I cannot disagree.
The problem is modern technology stops people thinking. Give you an example. A couple of years back, before the pandemic, I would go in 9 to 5. I would walk in maybe about 8:45, and there would be somebody sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm glad you're in. Something's popped up my screen. It's been there since I came in at 7." And I looked at their screen. It says, "Press OK to continue."
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
And I says, "Why didn't you press OK?" Oh, I didn't know what it meant. So if I put a post-it note on your keyboard saying press enter to continue, you would take the key and then you do it and press enter. So why can't you do that on the computer? Because it popped up and I didn't know what to do. It's not as if it says, do you want to continue, yes or no, giving you a choice and you don't know what choice is going to be the right one. But you've got one choice, but they couldn't understand what the choice was giving them. And that's the problem. Technology, it's a case of, oh dear, it's asked me a question. Read what it asks you. But I can't. Why not? Because it's IT, that's your job. And I'm sitting there and I could never understand it. Another one came in and says, my machine's been sitting asking this question and I don't know if I press yes or no. I came in and I says, right, what happened? She says, I tried to install a piece of software and it says, are you sure? Well, are you sure? Yeah, I need it. So why didn't you press yes? Because I didn't know I was meant to. And that's why I think technology is making people dumber. Because it takes that brain cells working out of the equation.
But PJ, you know the acronym PICNIC.
Aye. Problem in chair, not in computer. Yep. It's the same as a craft moment. You explain something to someone and they have a craft moment. Can't remember a fucking thing.
Yeah. My favorite one was the 1D10T era.
Yep.
Which you have to write down to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
I thought we were talking role-playing games for a second there.
But the thing is, with technology, people say technology is making things better. It's not. It's making it worse because it takes thinking out of the equation. And that's the problem. A simple thought of, do I press OK to continue, rather than sit here for an hour and a half waiting for somebody to come in to say,
I can't believe we're still going around this mulberry bush, because Thoth and the king that he invented language and external memory for said exactly the same thing you just said, PJ. He was just like, if you start writing things down in books, how are people even supposed to remember how to read? Or what if we forget how to read and then all that information is lost? And, you know, if you write it down, then what? You're not responsible to remember it? And this is like 5, 6, 7,000 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, well, you look at what they call the Dark Ages, right? It's not Dark Ages because, believe it or not, nobody turned off the sun. It was called the Dark Ages because of lack of knowledge of what happened at the time.
Right.
And because you've got Romans, they would write things on wax tablets, which lasted. Before that, you had things on stone or clay, which lasted. You think about 1,000 years down the line, what's going to be available if anybody's to find? Paper won't last. You know what I mean? So all the stuff the class is now, we've been collating all this information so people won't forget. It's in paper. So if something happens in 1,000 years' time, all that information is gone, and the only stuff they'll find is Roman or earlier, because there is nothing that will last longer. And that's why the Dark Ages are called the Dark Ages. It's nothing to do with anything else except they just don't know, because a lot
it is a knowledge that was kept for some reason, and I do not know the magic my dad wielded. He was born in 1932. And he built stuff, and holy crap, they lasted. He built walking jetties across like a narrow span of a river in north of Scandinavia, where if it freezes, the ice will lock on to the logs that you pile down into the sand to hold your bridge up, and the water will lift it, and then it will melt, and the next winter it will freeze, hold on, and the water will lift it, and literally just pile it up. Average lifespan of a bridge in the area where he built a very useful one, it literally saved people 10 minutes worth of walking, stood for 29 years, where the average bridge the rest of the council built only stood for 7 years. He brought that knowledge in, that skill, that know-how. How do you do this? How do you prep for this? How do you see into the future? I can't even do a tenth of what he's doing.
Yeah, but you even look at, let's just go down the route that, say, something glitched and you end up 500 years in the future, right? People, if you take somebody from the 200 years ago, if you took somebody from 200 years ago and brought them forward and asked them what they did, and you got them, would they be able to build the machinery they use day to day? Probably yes, and they would understand majority of it. Nowadays,
they would be able to assemble, not construct, design, or build.
Some of them would be able to, because it depends what thing. But they would have, like, if it would be woodwork, or some people would have things. But nowadays, you take any one of us and then ask simple questions about their day-to-day life. Okay, how did you prepare food? How did you prepare food? So how did you prepare food today? Anybody?
Microwave, 7-Eleven?
Yeah, you basically bought it, or it was already prepared, and you took it out the fridge. So what's a fridge? Well, it's an ice box, right? How did that work?
Like a cellar.
Right, like a cellar. So you basically just put stuff in there and that's okay? No, it used the electricity. How did the electricity work?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It basically, there's no...
No. I'm not going to let you sneak away too easily on this one. So let's see if this works.
Uh-oh.
Aye, but right, okay. How did you prepare that?
Because I'm interested in how they did it back in the day. Putting stones together, building a fire, making sure you had the correct heat so you cooked the food properly.
You're learning it now, but if in 500 years' time you didn't have that piece of paper in front of you, then explain what you did to get it. Okay, how did you prepare the book? Where did you get the paper? Where did you get the ink? How did you bind it?
Yeah. Well, then again, I don't know. I mean,
it goes down that route, whereas people think, well, it's more technologically advanced. It is, but you take any one of the people along that whole line out, and suddenly, how do we do that? How do we build that, or how do we get that to work?
Yeah, I doubt, in my sphere, most archers wouldn't be able to make a bow or arrows. You had specialists for that. It's always been this. And my teeth have finally stopped grinding. You're using the words Dark Ages.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a generic.
I know, exactly, because
you generic term for the Dark Ages. But
exactly,
generic term has nothing to do with anything except there's the lack of knowledge, because a lot of that material didn't. And then once they started having written records, the ones that are still around.
Mm.
That's when the knowledge has started coming down from.
Yeah.
But there was a time where all that knowledge,
Yeah.
it didn't disappear. It just a case of it wasn't written down.
What
And, or
base-
if it was, it just didn't last because they were not like writing it in things that survived.
I think Colin will be
Literacy disappeared.
correct me mostly on this one, but the medieval times didn't have what we have today, where you have schooling, and then you have college and university, and then you have apprenticeship programs and everything.
Well,
Today,
hold
we
on a second, Jim. That's not
overcomplicated it.
entirely true.
They had
There was
that's not
definitely
true.
universities going
Back
way
in
back.
the medieval ages, if you wanted to be a blacksmith, you were an 8-year-old boy, or
Right.
in
So you
some
were on an
cases, maybe a
apprenticeship.
girl,
You
and
were on an apprenticeship.
you spent the next 6 years just heating up ores and smelting metals for your master
Yeah.
to
So you were
forge.
on an
And then you
apprenticeship.
started going up, you did the journeymanship or whatever it was called, and then you did the, it's not undergraduate, but it had a different name because this was following the guild lines kind of rules.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you want to become a master blacksmith, you started at age 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you spent the rest of your life. And if you were lucky, by the time you were like 40, 2 years away from your death, because average lifespan back then, you became a master blacksmith.
Yeah,
We don't have
that
that
average
kind of
lifespan is another
learning path
misdemeanor.
today.
Do you know that average lifespan is another misdemeanor?
Oh yeah.
Basically, it's to do with the fact of high mortality in infants.
Infant mortality and war.
Yeah, in war. So there was a lot of people lived 70 into their 70s and 80s, but if you take the average with all the kids that died before they were 5,
Yeah.
that's why you get the average. People say, "Oh, people about 40 and stuff like that." That's when it didn't. That's the average because infant mortality was very high, so that brought the average way down. So that thing where people say, "Oh, well, you were old when you were in your 40s," you weren't. You were still. You had people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, even. Just that when they talk about averages. The average is different now because there's less infant mortality, so the average lifespan, the average age is up in the 70s now, and so that is a bit of a misnomer. And it is one that it is because they talk about average ages. And
they don't count it the same today as they did yesteryears. Because yesteryears, if you weren't alive, you didn't count, and that is the only way they could count it. So the whole infant mortality thing is out the window.
No, it's not. That's when they're talking about.
No, it is how long did people actually live that actually got to live.
But that's not average.
To do with it. The average lifespan, when they're talking about the average lifespan of the time, they take into account all the lives when people died, and that's when the average comes out.
No, that's not how they calculate it. If you died infant, you're not counted.
Yes, you were. Colin.
No, the numbers is how old did you get?
I'll bring in my historical knowledge base, Colin.
That's how.
I can't believe PJ. How are we arguing on something this silly? We're supposed to be fighting whether or not Judge Dredd is better than Spider-Man.
Well,
and Spider-Man still wins.
Spider-Man. No, Judge Dredd is always better than Spider-Man.
No. Spider-Man always wins.
Spider-Man is always better than Venom, but Judge Dredd is always better than Spider-Man. Anyway, Colin, tell him. Set him. But they basically, but that is a misnomer. People talk about average lifespan. Life expectancy is different.
Yeah.
The life expectancy of people in the Middle Ages was 45 to maybe 75. Yeah. That was the life expectancy, not the average lifespan. The average lifespan was lower.
it also depended on where you are in society, because it depended on what your lifestyle was like, lifestyle in general. So what you what you could eat, how well exercise, what were you exposed to warfare. And the other thing is that, unfortunately, is that the other thing was not just she did, Kelly, you're right. The other thing is that infant mortality, you also, unfortunately, in some places and sometimes child, very risky. So you could well have a nobleman might be on his third or fourth wife, because not that he done it, but because previous wives had sadly died in childbirth or was for complications.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a difference between an average and an expectancy.
Life expectancy, yeah.
Yeah.
Because a life expectancy of a basic serf was a hell of a lot less than life expectancy of a lord or a king or a knight, because better food, better surroundings, cleanliness probably better as well, because of the way they lived. They had people to do things. They weren't getting
They
right
were
down.
quite clean people, the medieval people.
I know, but you think about it, they're talking about the living environments. It's not like you've got a living environment where it's dusted and cleaned. And
as someone that spent a lot of my youth hiking, doing some really difficult treks and everything, the more you were exposed to dirt and everything, you didn't get allergies, you didn't get any upset stomachs or anything. I'm approaching 50. And the only thing that I have that is actually going bad for me is that I have type 2 diabetes. But it's because sugar is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's definitely ruining your spleen or kidneys or liver or whatever it is that just gives up one day. But I can easily go out into the forest, and I can do, maybe not so much here in the British Isles, but in Scandinavia, I can find bark, I can find roots, twigs, forage, mushrooms, whatever. And all I need is just like a local stream. I don't need any charcoal filtering, like pH 7 scientific nonsense. I would easily survive on that. I don't need a supermarket with a best before date.
I mean, the thing is, it's weird is that we tend to have an odd, in some place we have an odd view of our ancestors, because they were probably in a number of ways healthier, because they were more active. They didn't, being fat was a sign of wealth. You could afford not to be that active.
And the food was cleaner. Everything was closer to the branch. The water was boiled. And there was a heartier lifestyle of community as well. So, it's really hard to say.
It was definitely shared, Stephen, but for your point, Colin, wasn't it a sex symbol for women to actually be fat?
There's some cultures that still.
Who knows?
No, I think I know that we're talking sort of thousands of years, not hundreds of years, thousands of years old. You get statues of overly fat, to our eyes, women, which are generally believed to be
what's it called in 13th Warrior?
They were classed as fertility symbols.
Yeah,
exactly.
Symbols. They didn't class anything as a sex symbol back in the day. It was a fertility symbol.
Yeah, but it meant you had more prosperity, you had more ability to protect your offspring and all of that.
Yeah. But that thing, I don't think it necessarily was so much in women. Might have been. It might have been, as she said, definitely it would have been a sign that you were more, excuse me, that you were more wealthy, that you could afford not to have to go out in the fields work in the field all day or whatever.
Yeah, there's a part of this also. We don't know exactly what the dialogue was around these fertility symbols. They literally could have been a protect. There are terms like shield maidens and vestal virgins and so on. I could imagine that some of these gals in the past may have gotten very chunky because they were well fed, they were well kept, and it was only for the rights of fertility. We might have a very different opinion if we could actually place a camera on these characters in the past.
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm. We might call these brothel girls for all we know in our own perspective, but at the time, society was so structured differently and I can't for the life of me believe that any farming woman would not be as stocky as any of the men working on the farm as well, because everybody had duties and those buckets of milk didn't carry themselves.
As someone that actually grew up on the farm, Stephen, I can vouch, whether it was my dad or my mum that told me off in a physical way, they equally hurt just as much. They were equally strong in reinforcing, you need to get this shit done.
Remember, it's going to be a thing of the past because all these people, all these climate activists are telling you, you should get rid of cows. How do you need them? I don't need milk. I get mine from the supermarket.
Yeah.
These are the same people who are saying you need to get rid of cows because of methane, but I'll get my milk from the supermarket, so I don't need cows.
I don't have to worry about Hurricane Iron because I get my electricity through my post box.
I mean, I've got a simple answer. If you believe in net zero emissions, you want to do away with carbon emissions, start with yourselves.
I try to agree with that. Did you see what was it, the AOC thing? It was posted.
Oh,
she was the one saying that during these hurricanes and the price hikes and stuff like that, you'll be sorry that you don't have the electricity put to work the pumps to get your gas. You should have been smart and had an electric car instead.
I swear you need a microscope to find her brain.
Yeah, basically, but that gives on Twitter. It was about a speech she said. I don't think it was maybe about the climate crisis. It might not have been about hurricane, but it was a case of because there's no electricity to work the pumps, aren't you all screwed? You should have been smart and got electric cars. And everybody's sort of sitting there going, really? Is she actually saying that? She says it without any concept that what she said. To her,
for anyone that has been maybe tuning into heel versus babyface this week, he's been playing a survival post-apocalyptic horror game, and it's literally, where do I get my resources to build whatever I need? And the people with electric cars, they don't realize it's a bucket ton of diesel and gasoline being burnt to actually give you the electricity you require to drive your car.
Kelly, I'm not entirely sure if that's serious. It sounded a bit too much, but I can just imagine it's the thing she would say because have you seen all these guys? It's California. They're having rolling blackouts, I believe, or they're having the energy crisis. I don't know. I just basically, and you see people with Teslas and they've got a generator sitting next to it, charging it up because
I think it's called brownouts when it's the city grid.
So the guy's in his driveway with a generator, which is diesel powered, charging up his electric car and saying how good he is for the environment.
Every Tesla should come with a generator.
To me, I saw somebody actually said it right. See, if you've got an electric car, you're only allowed to power it up by wind power or solar power.
Yeah.
So you can't plug it into the main grid because it's using diesel or whatever to generate that electricity. And you're all against the electricity, so don't use the diesel that you've said you're against to do it. So if you want to go down that route, lead by example. Have it power solar or wind energy to charge it up, and let's see how that works.
Did you not see? Was it a couple of years ago now when your super intelligent leader up there, when you had an environmental conference, which of course everybody flew to in their private jets.
COP26, yes.
Yeah. And
when the president of the United States drove by, they closed down the motorway between the COPs and the airport, and he had 26 cars in his motorcade and 56 motorcycle outriders.
Well, obviously, they decided they were going to be green because Scotland is green, so they were going to provide everybody with electric cars. Then they went round to find generators to charge them with.
But
they didn't have the charging facilities.
That was only for one. That was for the US president, and there was COP26. There was people from all over the place, so you can imagine the amount of. And that also took the motorways out of the equation, which means everybody was driving around all the outskirts, which was causing traffic jams, which was cars sitting with their engines running. So all the things they did, in effect, were meaningless. Absolutely,
of course they were
meaningless.
Absolutely.
But it's the same with the Extinction Rebellion. They're blocking the roads where ambulance and critical infrastructure drivers are going through, but they're also blocking the companies that are trying to find a solution for the CO2 emissions. So they're sitting there puddling CO2s when they don't want to.
If I was sitting in a car and they were sitting in front of me, I would just sit with my hand in the horn the whole time. And I would rev up the whole time.
But you're just going to get like what they did in Canada. It's like it's illegal now for big truck wheelers to play their horns.
But it means they're just a car.
You'll be arrested on terrorist charges in Canada.
But I'm not in Canada, so they basically, let's see what they do. Sorry, there's an obstruction in the road, nobody's clearing it, so I'm just putting my horn to see if it will move itself. But that's when I wish I still had my bike. I would drive through and then just sit and rev up and let them have all that carbon monoxide that everybody sitting behind them is getting. So I'm okay with that.
Back up, go past, back up close to them. Just rev your engine so they're breathing in your exhaust.
That's exactly what I would do. I would.
Sorry,
I would see if somebody was glued in front of me and I was sitting, I would toot the horn and just rev my engine the whole time. And I'll tell them that, well, they're obviously causing all this because if they weren't sitting there, I wouldn't be revving my engine. So it's
just sit down and ask them exactly what the environmental impact of the super glue remover that they use to unglue their hands has. What's it? I saw it somewhere. I know it's in France or somewhere where people started trying doing that, and the cops just came along and pulled them off.
I love that. That French cop just picked the guy up, just grabbed his arm, just went rip, and took the pin off. And to me, that's what they should do. And see the one at the guy who cemented his hand, and they were doing there with it. I would have just got a sledgehammer and just smashed it. If it touched his hand, it's his fault.
I think this is from across Lotus Eaters to Paul Joseph Watson to Joe Rogan to Mike Cernovich to whoever it is. Have you not noticed that these people that glue themselves to a bridge in front of a road, all of them have a super posh first, middle, and last name. These guys are at least six figures from Mummy and Daddy a month.
Money, so they don't need to work. So they just, if they're sitting about all day getting themselves recognised, then they're fine, no problem. They're not going to get sacked from their job.
Yeah.
To me, then fine them, fine their parents, and if fine them, and if the parents pay it, double the fine. And if they do it again, quadruple the fine. If they do it again, multiply it again. I would constantly, so every time they do it, multiply the sentence. It's the same as
The
if somebody
thing,
smashed the
a
window
fine
and
is
get a week in
only
jail.
an instrument that works against the poor people.
Yeah, this is true.
No, that's why I'm saying
A fine does not work against a rich individual.
Yeah, but it will eventually if the person keeps coming out and you keep doubling the fine and then doubling it, then doubling it. Eventually, it's going to hit in because if their kid has done it 10 times, then that, say, £2,000 initially is now £200,000, and the next time they're going to do it, it could be 400,000. Then the next time after that is 800. I'm sure they'll actually go,
Yeah.
well, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
it's true.
So basically, it's not a case of just say, oh, well, it's a £2,000 fine, it's a £2,000 fine. Say it's a £2,000 fine, what you've been charged 3 times with it. Well, that's 2,000 times, 2,000 times, 2,000 times, and then do that and say, so you've got 3 charges.
Right. PJ, if I give you these 2 options. Hello there, PJ. Your newborn kid. He farted in a sense that caused more CO2 to this planet than should have been. You can choose to pay a £4,000 fine, or he will spend the next 36 years in jail.
I don't see where something it would only cost you a £4,000 fine would end up in 36 years in jail.
No, but I gave £4,000. It sounds much because I know you are not.
No, but if
royalty wealthy, but
I would do the same with
a £4 fine or 36 years in jail. If we put it down that drastically, because that is what the penalties are for these idiots in Extinction Rebellion and the people that glue themselves to the street.
Right, no, but what I'm saying is if it's a fine, if it's the first time, say, right, you're getting fined. Second time it does, your fine's doubled. Third time, it's doubled again. Fourth time, eventually it's going to get to the point where the parents are going to say, well, I ain't paying for it. It's all you. Or it's the same idea with, you get these guys, yes, I've been charged with breaking into a house. I would like 400 other convictions to be taken into account. Say, fine, you were going to get a year in prison. 400, that's 400 years. Bye-bye, you get a year per one that you've admitted, you've been charged with. Or so you were here 4 years ago and you broke into a house and you got a year in prison. Well,
a year in prison for someone that is gluing themselves to the street, preventing ambulance services to go somewhere to save someone's life. No, if you did that and you blocked an ambulance to get to a place where you needed to save someone's life, it's automatically default 100 years in prison, no parole from my end.
It's all to do with practicality. I'm just being practical, working within the law structure. And all I've done is just change one wee bit. Every time somebody commits a crime, double their sentence. So if somebody breaks into a house, they get a year. The second time they break into a house, it's 2 years. The third time they break into a house, it's 4 years. And so
don't
basically,
you, Stephen, and when you have something like that in the States,
one more house, I'm going to stay in prison for the rest of my life. That's
so Jim and PJ maybe have become one person. You guys talk over each other so often. It's hard.
We don't.
It would not be. Let's talk geeky without that.
We argue over each other. We don't talk over each other. If we were talking, it would be general.
Alternatively, change the law so that it's their fault if they get injured.
Yes, correct. I agree. And if they do something, if they glue themselves or cement themselves to something, then it's not the police's responsibility to not hurt them while they're taking them apart. So if you've cemented your hand, smash the cement with a sledgehammer. If it breaks their hand, it's their fault for putting their hand there in the first place.
Yep.
Tell them before it's happening, so they've got the responsibility. So if you, to me, I would say, by the way, if you glue your hand to the road, somebody's going to pull you off the road. If your hand gets all ripped, your responsibility.
Right, in much the same way that damages to a towed vehicle are not considered. When you got your vehicle towed, it's in the wrong place. the damages to your car are your own responsibility. You shouldn't have been parked there. So
exactly.
it should be
And
the
that's
same
it.
way.
It's exactly the
It's this
same idea.
mentality that, you know, that they just do whatever they want and there's no repercussions, and then
Yeah.
they go berserk if they actually have repercussions.
They're
Like,
kids
no,
they're kids who've grown up and never been told no.
correct.
And that's
Yeah.
the
They
thing.
have never
The
had.
participation trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fines should be percentiles of your
Yes.
last income tax.
I quite agree with
percentage.
that. I quite agree with that because
Yeah. I mean,
there
they
was
should
a
mean
few
something.
years back. There was 2 convictions for speeding on the same road in the UK, and the 2 convictions were, one was a royal. I think it was a prince or a count or something like that. But anyway, it was one of the higher up royals. It wasn't in line for succession, but he got charged for doing 110 on the road. Another person who was a businessman who drove for work was charged for doing 95 on the same road.
Mm-hmm.
The royal got a £4,000 fine, and the businessman got barred for a year. So the royal, who money wasn't an issue with and could afford a chauffeur if
Of course.
needed, got a fine. The guy who drove for work lost his job. To me, that should have been the other way around.
Yeah.
You want to hang me? We'll
Right.
get somebody else to drive, and you can't drive. Whereas you're speeding, £4,000 fine. Don't do it again.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually seen videos where cops have come across people, and the guy said, "Well, what's the fine?" He goes, "Well, it has to be calculated by the judge." He goes, "Well, what's the most severe fine?" And he said, "Well, it's $2,000 for usually." He reached into his pocket and pulled out $2,000 cash, and he said, "Can I go now?"
Yeah.
But it's a case of the law is there. Not the problem is nowadays the law is a farce.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At one point the police didn't matter how well they worked, they would see people, and that's why you got all these convictions that were classed as wrongful convictions. They had all these guys, they knew they had committed all these crimes, and then another crime came up, they didn't know who it was, so they fitted them up. They didn't think they did the job. It was the fact is, well, we can put the evidence together to get these criminals off the street. So they did that because they knew the law would just let them walk. So they basically had to trump up the charges. So there was aspects of that, and then unfortunately, it's not just the law; it's an arse. It's the people who enforce the law, because they had to do that at one point. Now they do it if they don't like you or if you piss them off. You piss them off, then suddenly, oh, your car's got bald tires and you never showed me your license. But I did. No, you didn't. As far as I'm concerned, you didn't. So that's an offence. Oh, and if that's smashed as well. And it's stuff like that. So you've seen enough where people actually dislike someone and started harassing them and fitting them up and just charging them for anything and everything they could get away with. And it's only when somebody else has come around and goes, "Oh, wait a minute, that's actually obvious that you're doing that." But very rarely now. But the cops have got zero respect nowadays because of what's happened.
Yeah.
The police force stopped getting the respect of the public during the strikes, the minor strikes in the 70s.
They started
The
losing
police
it
were used as a security force. Instead of somebody to uphold the law, they were used to try and clamp down on the labour strikes.
Yeah.
And that turned a lot of people against the police. Nowadays, over the last 2 years, the police have a lot less respect. So, because if you are basically sitting having a coffee and you get picked up and put in jail, or talking to want to take your mother out of the nursing home because they're not allowing anybody to see her and she's dying, and you get arrested, and the police actually say, "Okay, we have to arrest you, come on," then it's why me personally, have zero respect for the police now. So if I saw something and the police said, "Did you see it?" I said no. I would literally turn around and say no, because I'm not getting involved with anything to do with the police at all. And that's the problem. the law at one point had lost my respect because they would basically a lawyer with a golden tongue could actually talk anybody out of anything, even though they knew he was guilty. Now the police they basically do whatever somebody else tells them to do, even if they know it's wrong, just because they're the police.
It's when you get these ludicrous situations, like did you see that thing they've shown a few times now, where there was in Wales, where there was a pride march or something, and you got this cop telling these lesbians that they can't march because the fact that they're lesbians, their gender essential lesbians might offend some people. So
because they didn't actually like trans women because they were lesbians.
Yeah.
And they were told to leave because they were offending to the trans community.
Yeah.
And LGBT or see all these fucking letters. It's and Pride is a load of pish. Pride at one point was there to actually say, listen, gay people actually exist. Stop it. Nowadays,
that's how it was in the 90s.
People are actually part and parcel. So stop having a pride. If you can't have it, to me, the way I look at it is, if you can have a ladies only night, then you should be able to have a men only night.
Of course you should.
And if you turn around and say you can't, then you're sexist because you're saying the ladies only night works. If you've got an organisation that's for black police officers, army, or whatever, or mobile, the music from black origin, then you should have one for music for white origin. If not, then you're racist because you're only selecting one side, not the other. To me, it should be a case of whatever you have to have another one for both sides, or else you are out.
I never understood this growing up as a young adult. Me and my friends, we had a hobby Friday kind of thing. And this was when I was part of a swimming team. We did water polo. We did all kinds of like aquatic exercises. But every Friday, it was our break day. So we played floor hockey.
John Wayne.
We played floor hockey. And somehow the little sub-basement where we were playing this, in literally the worst possible low-budget circumstances you can think of, we got invited by the disabled professional league. Hey, guys, would you like to come and play with us? And we thought, wow, we're fairly good. We're fairly decent. And holy crap, did we get our butts handed to us.
Yep.
By them. They said in their minds there was no such thing as a disability. It's a mindset. It's a willpower that you have. Do you want to try and achieve something? Go for it. You may not be able to be walking upright and be 6'7" and whatnot. You're stuck in a chair. Can I do something from this chair? And holy crap, they did. I think they kicked their butts like 37-1.
Well, I genuinely.
I'm gonna have to like jump in there.
All right, Wendy.
A little bit.
Yeah,
I just got to bail because we're just getting a bit tired. So I'm been a busy old day.
Hang on, I'll light up my background.
Right, let him light up his background so we can actually see.
Yes, please.
Let's see, where's my camera?
Ta-da! Wow,
it's blown out a little bit, but it is.
Nice.
If I turn off the light.
Oh, he's adorable. He's got.
And you can see.
Oh, I like that.
And that one down below is a candy bowl, so it has motion sensors. So as soon as you dip in for candy, there is a skeleton hand coming up. It's like
candies in America. It's sweeties.
Ah, nice. What's the coffin box behind you?
That's Stupid Death. That's a video
That's a
game.
card game.
Is it really?
It
That's cool.
is basically Darwin Awards, but it is a game that you play. Death will be hunting you. And if you play more than 5 people, it's literally an impossible game to play. Because death will walk one step for every person that answered the was this true or a false death wrong.
I thought that was a horrible histories game there. It's stupid.
It is a horrible histories kind of thing, but it is.
Stupid Death song running around inside my head.
Yes. Yep.
Stupid
That
Death.
is cool. I
Stupid
need to
Death.
find
Next
that.
time it's not you.
That is funny.
50 stupid death cards and instructions.
Yeah, actually, and it looks like it may actually be inspired by the whole histories.
Yeah, it's
I
the
wouldn't be
same idea.
surprised
You
at all,
get
yeah.
exploding. It's the same idea when you get exploding kittens. Is the card game?
Yeah, I don't like the name of that one, so I'm like, no, I'm not playing.
One of my friends loves cats and loves explosions, and I got a set of it. Explosion. It's basically for people who like cats and like explosions. So it's not about cats blowing up. It's just one of those games.
Well, that is cool. That is really cool.
It's just a candy ball, but a skeleton hand would go. Just like,
I got the skull candy bowl today. This one I got last week. This is Yorick. We got him last week.
You need to get a wee thing so it just clips onto
adorable.
you.
But yeah, I got the skull candy bowl today, which is right around that size. I didn't bring it in here with me, but I'll show that
Giant
next week.
skull.
I'm sure you'll be fine, and I'm looking forward to you presenting it. I will try and get a few more Halloween things, but it's only October the 1st, though, isn't it?
When you're not missing much from me, because I've only got 5 DVD CDs, so no toys, nothing.
Yeah, we were up at. Well, I woke up again at 3 a.m. No idea why, just weird dreams and weird stuff, and just couldn't get back to sleep. And then we had to get up and get into town for 8 o'clock this morning to get the shopping done and back. Done one of those nuke the site from orbit house cleaning.
My wife did that. Yeah, so she did. My wife did that. Yes, this morning as well.
It's like we just go until basically we either die or we can't move anymore. Yeah.
Sorry to say though, when you'll miss my man cave purchases, but that is the interesting ones that I did get.
Yeah, thanks God. I'm so sorry. This is what's happening to me now. I actually had caffeine. I had like a huge cup of coffee before the stream as well, trying to stay awake. And I can't go anymore now.
No problem, Wendy. Thank you for joining us, as always.
Yes.
Always a pleasure, Wendy.
And remember, Wednesday is the Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Love that movie.
Mm-hmm. So that's what our Wednesday stream is. So
I'll definitely be in the chat for that one. Definitely.
Yeah. So thanks again for joining us, and you have a good night.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to bed.
Sleepy time.
Yeah, I'm done. So you guys are amazing. Lovely chat tonight. Catch you on the next one.
Indeed.
Good night.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. Mwah.
Right. Now there's 4.
And now we're a rectangle.
A quadrangle. A parallelogram. Right,
Colin, how was your archery? By the way, I meant to ask. I know you did some archery stuff in the last week, didn't you?
Right, I'll be right back. So you
we just
cheers, PJ.
It was just a practice, but next weekend, we're doing a show at a wedding. are we going to be doing pretending to be medieval people at the wedding, all the way through, including to at the wedding, at the banquet, at the wedding dinner. So that's going to be fun.
That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun.
practice.
There's going to be all sorts of like boys and girls that are going to be tangling around you, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, shall we try to practice some of the things we're going to be doing for that as well? Okay.
So are you going to bring a quill and a piece of paper so you could sign autographs?
Sorry, I've got my computer's getting a bit noisy. That's right. I got some stuff done and I'm running out of space again. But I won't be able to do that. I'm an archer. I'm illiterate. I can't actually learn. I can't write.
Oh my goodness. I've had some friends of mine say that they really enjoyed the E.E. Smith broadcast that we did.
Yeah.
So I haven't checked the numbers, but I'm sure we're getting some good rewind views, replay views.
Yeah.
On that. There's no material on the man. It's such a sad state of affairs that you do a search on YouTube, Doc E.E. Smith, and it's like nowhere. Nobody's talking about the guy.
Yeah,
it's so sad.
I know. It really is.
Yeah, but we've definitely talked a few people into looking into the man's bibliography. So that's good news. Our mission is complete. Well, not complete, but just getting started.
Yep.
Speaking of which, anybody hear anything from Alex?
He was feeling better, but he said he wasn't going to be here tonight. But I think he's still getting over the coof or whatever it was they had. Still not sure if it was coof or not.
Yeah, he sounded all right. He's been reaching out to me throughout the week, but this is literally the first evening where I felt like, I can turn on the computer. I can do something.
Okay.
So I haven't responded to him, but he's been checking in on me to make sure that I'm okay because I had a hard case of the man flu.
Good grief. Yeah, well, that's good news. I was worried because he's not even mentioning anything in the Discords or anything like that. So he must be just completely zonked out on, parallel to the ground.
Yeah, he was on. I think he's doing some. He's trying to get some stuff done for the channel. I think he said, but yeah, he was. He and his family. So hopefully he's all back together now, though.
Yeah. He already had a bunch on his shoulders to begin with. So good news. Just wanted to get a little Alex update.
Mm.
So a wedding, how does that happen? You guys part of an affiliation that just gets hired out, or like?
Yeah, what they're doing is it's basically, I think the groom is interested in history as well. And so we've got a few things that they're going to do, but I'm not sure where it came from. I presume maybe come across us and our publicity bod or our bookings bod.
Oh, okay.
Got made the arrangement with them, so we're going over there.
Ooh la la! You've got a booking board.
Yeah. We've got a booking bod who takes care of bookings with making the bookings for the shows and all the rest of it because it's
that's going to be great.
Yeah, it should be. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, we're going over there. It's a Friday and a Saturday, so I won't be doing anything. So I'll be away next week, most of next weekend. But it's going to be should be fun.
Indeed, and once again, those kids are going to be just question and answer session with notebooks.
Absolutely, I hope that too, because seeing library in action was what got me into. It's like, oh hey, I might do this, and I learned how to build boffin swords and like fake bow and arrows and medieval garbs and how to fake a chainmail to look like a proper chainmail. He got me started into that, and it is. I like crafting.
Yeah.
Today, to a quarter of a century later, I like crafting because people had to be smart enough to build this. Figure out how do we do this? How do we do a twine for a longbow that will last and just not snap?
Well, you were talking a lot about the food. One of the, we're not at full-on shows. We're not doing it at this one, but what we do is several of our ladies are interested in. In fact, one or two of them I hadn't realised in recently, but they're actually cooks. They're actually professional cooks. So what they do, they actually cook food and the rest of it, and it's all done as far as we can medieval style. As medieval, you know. I mean, I think it was one a few early on this year where she actually skinned. She actually skinned and cooked rabbits. You know, this sort of thing.
Yeah, because as silly as these kids may appear to us growing up, they're still playing these video games, and to be able to see a real live person that has all of exactly the same features, that's going to be just downright intoxicating. And I'm sure the parents would be happy for the distraction as well.
Yeah. I mean, Kelly, that's a good point. There's oddly enough, I started watching a video that came up in my feed earlier on from an American lady, and she was talking about Ren fairs. And the subject of a video appeared to be the costumes at Ren fairs. Should they be accurate or should they just be fantasy? Because in the UK and in Europe, in the UK, we don't tend to have Ren fairs. In as much as most reenactors, whatever the period, are period accurate. So, you know, we sadly don't have very many bucks and wenches with low cut tops.
But it is a sad reflection on the fact that I don't know what comedy show I saw this from. It's American comedy show, and they went to Ren Fair. Ren Fair being short for a Renaissance Fair, which is Renaissance Market. For those that didn't know it, but the comedy group goes into this Ren Fair and saying, "Oh, you have to be careful. You're now around people that actually have real castles where they grew up, because America doesn't have castles."
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I notice is that the Renaissance, aka the early modern period, that's what comes after the Middle Ages. So anything earlier, so Middle Age and earlier doesn't belong in the Renaissance. Doesn't belong in something that's supposedly Renaissance. But this is what I said. The difference I've discovered a while ago is because what the Ren fairs are a celebration of history and history-inspired fantasy, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a different. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly You've got the history. Like a lot of places. I mean, I'm quite surprised at Australia because someone like Shad in Australia. I mean, God, the stuff that guy does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I can't remember. I think Australia is as a nation is even younger than the US, and you've got people there who are interested in it. But the difference is, I think, is that I say on the Renaissance Fair is not the same thing as a reenactment, because a reenactment, what we do is, as far as possible, we try to be as authentic as possible with kit, clothing, and etc. Whereas Renaissance Fair, my understanding of what I can see is that, and it's also history and fantasy all combined.
It's more of a cosplay to a lot of people.
Yes, yeah, to a different, which is great. I mean, the thing is, it's still the interest in people's interest in history, which is great.
Yeah,
but yeah, as you said, I mean, we've got. I mean, there's a pub not that far from me, near where I used to work a few years ago to school, which is the building goes back to the 1100s.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, nowadays, Ren fairs have turned into anything related to fantasy, including Renaissance mods on Stormtrooper costumes. So there's that as well.
Yeah, it was the same idea as they did in the Big Bang Theory. Anybody went to a Renaissance fair and they had, they were just walking about. They were classed as time travelers, rather than because they were actually walking about in the Renaissance fair in modern clothes. They classed them as time travelers.
Even I will find you. I have a unique set of skills and yada yada because I have a TIE fighter stormtrooper outfit along with a Captain Rex helmet with a voice modulator that doesn't work. I need to figure that out. But my plan was literally to turn a combination of that into a steampunk outfit with cogwheels, the bronze armor, the whole thing, because I thought it sounded cool. But I did have an additional idea on top of it. So on my left shoulder, it would be C-3PO's helmet rather than just a normal pauldron. The top part of my helmet would be obviously R2-D2. There would be a few other things, but I also thought, hang on, let's cross the stream and build a couple of extra things in. So anything starting with Star should be included. So Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate. Just add a few details. So if you were attentive enough, you would see them. But it's an idea I've been having for such a long time. I just haven't had equipment to build it.
Yeah.
See, I've never understood steampunk. Never understood it at all.
You don't have to get Victorian clothing. And
no, I don't
done.
understand it. I just don't understand the appeal of it. Basically, trying to make something new look old. I've just never understood that. That's what I mean. I've just never seen the appeal of it. Either you want to be fantasy or you want to be science based. Then try to actually make it so you've got a stormtrooper. It's all steam and bits and pieces like that. I've never seen the appeal of it. A few of my friends like dressing up in steampunk, and I've just never understood that either.
Only way I can describe it, it's not science fiction, it's science history.
That's probably why I can't think, because I could understand it if it was science history, but it's not. It's still science fiction. It's just set in the past instead of the future.
Right. Yeah. I think there wasn't enough science fiction in the fantasy because it's a displaced genre because it's somewhere between space opera science fiction of the 20th century and speculative fantasy from like the late Renaissance. So yeah, it displaced itself because the Victorians were just knowledgeable enough to get themselves into trouble. So let's steampunk it. Mm-hmm. And the whole genre was born out of these guys knew what a wrench was.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things. I just never understood it. I never understood the appeal of it. For me, I suppose that's just one of those things, isn't it? If it appealed to us all, then there would be all steampunk everywhere, nothing else.
Yeah, as my late mum used to say, if we all like the same thing, it'd be a very boring world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, indeed.
Yep. I'm listening to Superpowered. It's about a world set where there is superpowered people in it. There's people who can't control it. They're called powereds. Then you've got the ones who can control it are called supers. And then you've got the normal humans. And it's about a group of people who are in training to be heroes. They have to be certified and all that. And at the moment, they're talking, one of the guys who's a telekinetic, but he's also, they class him as a clairvoyant. because he can throw things with his mind, so he's telekinetic in that respect, and he classes himself as a Jedi. Because and then somebody says so, and he says, "Oh no, none of those first three." So I thought there was 6 movies, no 3. He says, "No, there's only 3. Those first 3 don't count." When they started putting bugs in the blood, I didn't believe in them. I just stick with the original 3, and he classes his power like a Jedi, so he can feel people's emotions, he can manipulate them, he can actually move things around with his mind like a Jedi. And it's actually quite. They bring in bits and pieces from the real world, and they put it in, and so but there's supers who can do these things in real life, so it's a nice crossover genre. There's 4 books, superpowered year 1, 2, 3, and 4 about the class as they progress. There's another one called Powers, and it's about one of their father, Corpies. It's called, about how the organizations use superpowered people to do certain things within their organization, and these are all the lower powered people and stuff like that. They train them up. It's
So sort of
quite
Harry Potter for superpowers, then, in a way. You say the
Say again?
basic sort of sounds a little bit like Harry Potter for
Yes.
superpower, super
Yes.
beings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And by
So
which
it
I
is.
mean,
And
When did
it's-
that book series start, PJ?
Oh, it must be a good 10 years at least. Drew Hayes did the first one. Let's see.
Because there's an anime series running right now, going into their 6th season, called My Hero Academia. That is that very thing, exactly what you're talking about.
I'll just try to find it. Drew Hayes, superpowered. Year 1, Drew Hayes was out. I'm just digging it out just now. Year 1 was first published in 2013.
Okay.
So
So it
there's
is still
4.
very recent.
Yeah, and it is
The
really good.
synchronicity of creativity is amazing
See,
sometimes.
the first book is 32 hours. The second book's about 32 hours as well. The third book is, I think it was it 48 hours? There's
Good
basically,
grief, that's quite a book.
they are, I love them. They're basically, I've listened to them multiple times, and get up and down the car, it's perfect for. So I'm just actually digging out my library to see the,
See, that's how you do superhero genre. You just turn it on its head and say, how do these people get trained and classified and certified if there's so many superheroes? Where's the police system? Let's talk about that.
yeah. Oh, there's a police system as well, and there's also, right, the first book is 26 hours long.
wow.
The second book, year 2, is 32 hours long. Book 3 is 41 hours long, and book 4 is 60 hours long.
But the
God
years are
bless the
getting.
author.
So,
And then
the years
book
are getting
5 is
like
called
Harry Potter.
Copies, and that is only 19 hours long, or nearly 20 hours long. So there's a lot of material in them. And the good
Wow.
thing is, each book is very well structured because it's a class environment. It's about the kids learning and the things that are happening to them, because they're a bunch of powers. Ones who can't control their power, it comes on and off at random, they can't control it, and they've been given a procedure to stabilize it, and they've been put into the program, the hero certification program, and they're also under monitor, but people don't like it because they're powered, the lowest of the low. Even
What's the author's name again?
Drew Hayes.
Drew Hayes. Because I
He's
have
done a
got to
few other
mention this
books.
to
Drew
some of my
Hayes.
anime friends.
Yeah. Super Powered, it's called. Drew Hayes is the one that did that NPC. Remember the one about spell, swords, and sorcery, the D&D character? It leaks into the world. So it starts off with a group of D&D players playing, and the characters all die, and the NPCs in the tavern find out they work for a mad king, so they take up the party's roles and continue on. He did that as well. So he's done other stuff like that. There's 5 books in that series, and that's really good as well. He's done other stuff, like, for instance, Fred the Vampire Accountant. He's done 5 books in that. I've no listened to them yet.
It sounds even amazing as it is, but I'm probably on par with each and every one of you on this panel. I've read it before, I've seen it before, I've heard it before, I've experienced before. Tell me something new. And I will say my current flavor is the Brainiac that is stuck somewhere. So we have the Martian. He's stuck on Mars. He can't get home. He has to figure out a way to survive. Being smart, creative, plan this, do that, solve this problem, solve this scenario. Then you have Project Hail Mary, which I highly recommend, and I think it's still an unknown gem to the rest of the people that really like The Martian. It's from the same author. It has similar solve the problem, solve the next problem, solve the next problem, and then you maybe be able to get home. But PJ is going to win the crown here because the best audiobook I've had this year is Bobbyverse.
4 books.
But it is in a similar vein. Solve the problem.
The Voy Neumann prog. So
yes. Solve the problem, find the solution, build the next step. Oh, it created more problems, but solve the problems as they're coming in. Take them in small pieces, and then you may overcome the really, really big problem.
Yeah, the Bobbyverse is a good set of books as well. There's 4 of those as well, and it's all about the launch of a Von Neumann probe from different places on the Earth that are at war against each other, and it's all about the moving forward. It's actually a really good series of books, and it's very, very well done. Very scientific to an extent.
Slightly confusing timeline-wise, so because you go from one chapter, then the next chapter takes place on a different planet, 30 years in the past. Then the next one's another one which is 10 years. You know, it's a little bit difficult in places, I think, to sort of say, well, in a second, but that's happened, but that's because of time dilation and the rest of it. That's happened and that's not happened. It's
that is why Bobbyverse is so spectacular.
Yeah.
Because it happens at the same time, but because time dilation, it may be 60 years in the future or 30 years in the past. But it takes place at the same time.
And they deal with the time between them because they know there's, like, for instance, if one of the probes sets off to another star system, they just basically talk about things happening, and then it will tell you 30 years later they get a signal back from the other one saying they've arrived, and it just basically they do skip the times. Basically, one's been monitoring a civilization as the other one goes off, and then it sends a message, and it just talks very generic about how they've moved on, and he's been there, but because they don't age because of their probes. And it's that type of thing. So it's very well done within the time field and stuff like that. So it's quite scientific the way they've looked at how it's done, and it's a really, really good story. So it is. Definitely recommend the Bobbyverse, but I would recommend Powers as well, or Superpowers, and I would recommend NPCs. They're the ones that I've been going through, and I'm still building up my Belgariad still. I've got 2 books in the Belgariad series. I've already listened to Belgarath the Sorcerer, and I've got the other ones to get before I start them again. But I've got plenty of books that I can keep going through. So, do you know what I heard? Oh, it was killing me. One of my friends was saying how The Rings of Power was absolutely fantastic. I says, did you read the books? He says, I've just started reading the books. And I says, well, the books are so different. He says, I see them as two different bits of media. I says, I would agree. However, they're treating them as one because they've taken the books, ripped them apart, and then reassembled them in the wrong order and added stuff in. He says, it's like getting an IKEA assembly, taking all the bits out you don't like the look of, putting your own stuff in, and then expecting it to actually look the same as the first shelf that you actually took the things apart from. I can understand it because he'd never read the book, so it was new, and now he's reading the books afterwards. And I was sitting there thinking, I hope it's not the audio books he's got, because the audio books they'll be out there have had their length changed to match, and I think that's because it's Rosamund Pike who's narrating the new books.
That's the Wheel of Time you're talking about, not
Yes,
Ring
sorry.
of Power.
Sorry, I meant the Wheel of Time. So he's read the book. He's reading the books just now, and Rosamund Pike's reading them. And I know the audiobooks are actually longer by at least 3 hours from the original audiobooks, because I've got the original audiobooks, and I think they've put it in so they can add stuff from the TV show into it to try and make the two of them alike. So it's either that or else she reads very slowly.
That could be
No,
it.
it's a 15% ad on the original audiobook.
Aye.
A 15% ad, you don't read that slowly.
But an extra 3 hours. So basically, I'm just sitting there thinking, he hadn't read the book, so I can understand why the difference. But then again, my brother-in-law said the same thing, and he'd never read the books. He just saw the thing and thought it was great. But listen, I want to go and we'll do this in a minute.
Pick of the week.
So, who wants to go first, or else do you want me to go first? I've only got 5 things. Nothing fancy, but nice and cheap.
Colin?
I downloaded some books, but they're all the Doc Smith ones.
Right. Do you want me to go first? Then we'll go around the table. It's
That's me
either
done.
like you want to go first, Colin. It's
I'm
just because
done.
you said the Doc Smith, and that was it. But you never even mentioned the books. Books names.
Hold on.
They're not just called Doc Smith books. Doc E. Smith.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to show, just the 3 photos I sent you in the DM, PJ, are just some old photographs of me doing some stuff back in the day, mid-90s. But that was about it. I had some other thing that I was going to do, but I can't display it. It was a
The 3
what's
pictures.
called a 3.
Two of them aren't you.
Well,
2 of them aren't you. But obviously it was somebody with you.
Yes.
Right. The Oktoberfest.
Oh no, those are from Roman.
Are they? I thought they were the ones you sent, because that's the 3.
No, I sent there was a direct message, I think, a DM.
Ah, so it is, yeah. Based on the type of pictures that I had.
These
that
are just indeed. That's me on the left, my left, I guess, looking at the screen, and my
The one
friend
holding
Dave.
that one.
Yep, holding my Zippo and my Lucky Strike cigarettes, trying to be a cool guy back in the day.
Is that,
And-
is that
look
all they
at you
asked
there.
from whatever you burnt down with your Zippo?
Yep, indeed, and that's some big, heavy New York snow in the foreign
In
background.
New York, when it snowed like that a few years back, we walked through Central Park just as it started snowing, and by the time we get through Central Park, it was about 2 feet deep.
Yeah, it comes down big time.
Yes, very big time. Let's see. So,
And this is when I was working with a mystery theater group called Mystery Cafe, and that's the rest of the players there. I can't remember their names at all. We played so many different characters together as well. So But that's me in the middle, finger in my ear, of course. And the next one is
Oh, where did they all go? It's basically the old ones in that one.
and this was at my brother's wedding with my sister. That's my baby sister right there. Tara
Very good.
Cicino.
Is that a middle pattern with the two curls on either side?
Yes, it is. It's like Simply Red.
Very good. And I don't believe that's your sister. She's too cute.
She is too cute, isn't she? Good grief.
Yeah.
Could be an Italian princess. She's so beautiful.
Yeah, because people look at my three daughters and say, they can't be yours. It's when they
And you'd
turn
be like,
around and
I
say
know,
things-
right?
when they turn around and say things like, they look dead like you, but they're cute. Yeah, they can either look like me or they're cute. They can't be both.
Hold on, let me get my stones and my mallet. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I'll get my stone. Them's fighting words.
All right. It's basically when somebody says to me, your daughters look dead like you and they're cute. They can't be both. They can be one or the other.
That's a bit offhanded, isn't it?
Mr. AWK, Alec.
Good grief.
It's alive.
I'm back.
Alive.
So how are you feeling?
Damn, Mike took really good.
I still can't taste anything or smell.
Wow.
It is so weird. It's so
What's
weird.
so weird about not being able to smell?
When I like to smell food, I like to smell food. That's the thing.
Smell food.
Hey, Alex.
Alec, the
Thank
good
you.
thing, if you can't taste it, you can't smell it. Just get the cheap crap stuff. You'll never notice.
I know. I
It'll save
know.
you a
Oh, you mean the
fortune.
local curry?
It'll save you a fortune.
Well, the thing is, I end up eating fried tomatoes, and I can't stand tomatoes. And I can't stand them fried, and I just tasted them and went, I can't really taste this. This is so weird.
See, I'm okay. I've still got my taste. We're just doing
Yeah.
pick of the week. So I've got that. That's what I've
Sorry.
got. And this
You've got
whole
taste.
bundle here, 4 DVDs and a CD, cost me a sum total of £2.50.
You don't want to know what I spent on my toys, and I still have few deliveries coming.
What you got? I think we need full screen for this one.
Excellent. Fraser
Oh,
and what's her face? Elizabeth.
Liz Hurley.
Yes.
Liz Hurley. I
She's
saw the original.
smoking hot in this one.
Yeah. I saw the
Holy
original.
crap, she's smoking
I saw
hot.
the original with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, Bedazzled. They did the original, and I've got that as well. This is to me, this is better. It is so well done. The original was just fantastic as well, but I think this is one of these remakes that they nailed it. They didn't change it significantly.
God, can't we
Yeah,
get remakes
this
like
is where
that?
they respected remaking something or taking something that was already there.
And
They
they
added new
changed it just
cast, new
enough for-
members, everything. They changed a little bit of the tweaks, a little bit of the challenges.
They modernized it well. Having
Exactly,
Liz Hurley as the devil rather
but
than
carrying the respect of the original.
Yeah.
It's like,
So-
how have they lost this today? That is a perfect
because
example of a
they
film.
don't care about the original. They just want the name of the originals now, and they want to put their own stuff. They just
Well,
have
we've
their
seen
own stuff and think,
the
they
Rings
make
of
their own
Power.
rubbish.
I'm refusing to call it the
Yeah.
LOTR.
They find their own, they write their own stuff, know it's rubbish and nobody would buy it. So they look around for a franchise that's close to it, take the franchise, change some of the names in their script, put it forward as if it's that franchise and you're meant to like it because of the name. And
I
you're
know a
not meant to
YouTuber
like
out there who's been referring to Rings of Power as the Onion Rings of Power because it's just refried. It's not even reimagined. It's refried.
It's refried and then cooled off and then put into the microwave.
Yeah, it's terrible. Worse than
Yeah,
Wendy's.
you're right. Peter Cook was absolutely superb in it. So he was the original Bedazzled. I watched the original Bedazzled before I saw this one, and you know my idea with a remake And I like Brendan Fraser, and I picked it up, and I thought it was really well done. It didn't even actually crap all over the original. It just took the idea and updated it. So they didn't tell the story bit by bit. They just took the idea and modernized it and done it so well that it's one of those ones you can see them as two separate movies or a remake, and both of them are still fantastic. So I like that both Bedazzled, but I like the one because I like Brendan Fraser. He's usually really good. But I managed to pick up
Brendan Fraser's. I wish he didn't have the sad journey that he really did have.
Yeah. I picked up
throughout Hollywood, but
for £1.
Yep.
4 for £1.
All of them are Blu-rays.
Yep, Blu-ray. Never seen this one. Our Idiot Brother.
No, I've never seen that one either.
It's got Paul Rudd, Elizabeth Banks, Zoe Deschanel, Emily Mortimer, Steve Coogan, and Rashtar Jones. But Steve Coogan's in it. That was the only reason I got that. Steve Coogan.
I trust Paul Rudd. That's bound to be a good giggle for sure.
Yeah, but Steve Coogan is really good. I like Steve Coogan in most stuff he's in.
I would have picked that one up.
The other one I picked up was Zookeeper.
Oh, nice.
Oh yes, he's a big gaming nerd. He didn't get the same stardom as.
He was the one that is in Paul Black Mall Cop or something, wasn't he?
Yeah. He is, but he was a big gaming nerd. But he didn't get as much notoriety as the guy that played Superman and all of those roles.
I think it's just because most women don't want to see him take his top off. So I've not seen that one either.
I mean, the other one they definitely want to.
And the next one I got is the cover's a wee bit tatty. Is World's End.
We could continuing the Cornetto trilogy, but this is the quadrology.
I got it in DVD, but I picked it up because it was equivalent 25p for a Blu-ray. So it upgrades. So I was quite happy with that one. And the last one I got is
nice.
A Good Day to Die Hard.
Oh, don't remind me.
I will say it did have its merits. It really did have its merits.
It was okay in comparison, but I've got the other.
It was no Die Hard.
It was no Die Hard, but I've got the other 4 Die Hard, so I had to just get it. And as I said, 25p. So even if I get it and I go,
that's properly devalued.
Yeah,
25p.
Yeah, 25p, and it's basically not bad.
And not just a DVD; it's actually Blu-ray.
Blu-ray, and that was the only reason I got them, because they were selling them cheap, and they were the 4 that I thought looked the best. Because I thought I'll spend £1, and the only one I was really looking forward to, apart from World's End, which I've got, was Our Idiot Brother, and it's because it's got Steve Coogan in it. And I really like that. And that was the most expensive from a collector thing, 50p for a DVD compared to the £4, the 4 for £1 Blu-rays. And that's because that is a superb one. I'm just so looking forward to watching that again. So that was my pick. It's nothing fancy or spectacular, just DVDs this week. So what about yourself, Stephen? You've got your pictures. Colin has got the books, the Doc E. Smith, or is it E. Smith?
It's E. Doc Smith.
E. Doc Smith, right? Okay.
Which I already got. I just had to add them in again as ebooks.
Yeah.
Oh, you bought new versions of them?
No, they're on ebooks. I've got most of them as ebooks, and I just downloaded all the E. Doc Smith books. So you've got all of them. You've got the Service of the Empire ones there. You've got the Skylark. You've got the Subspace ones. I think about the only one I couldn't actually find was the Best of E. Doc Smith, but I've got most of them as books anyway. Got them as e-books, so I can read them.
Yeah, my wife's cousin did the soundtrack for Our Idiot Brother. Superb. There you go. Sorry for interrupting. It's just that really got me.
Yeah, there's a lot of good picks as always when we do this. In terms of entertainment, unless it was missed, was under the man flu, and you can probably hear that my voice is still raspy.
I can understand that, Jim.
And I will say also thank you to Alex. I did see your messages pinging through, just checking in that I was all right. Yes, I was just too way out of it to pick up and respond.
Yeah, that's all right.
Much appreciated. But in terms of entertainment,
do what I do at the weekend. I turn my phone on to vibrate and then just put it aside because it's mostly work calls I get. I usually just ignore it.
Yeah, I tried doing that, but the calls were coming in when I was like, oh, I'm finally getting a little bit of sleep. And then it's like, bzzz, 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 bzzz.
Mine just gets kept in its charging station and I just ignore it. So I do.
I did that as well. My charging station is now in a separate room from where I'm sleeping completely. It may cause me trouble at work in the future, but I
no longer have that responsibility. I used to be on call 24/7. Now I'm not. I can just
still stuck in that one
and just put it to the side and leave it now. I'm happy with that.
I'm still stuck in that one, but in terms of entertainment, I managed to find that there is a lot of channels on YouTube that have uploaded tons of audiobooks from the big 100 sci-fi
I've got
book authors.
I've got the whole 100.
Yeah. I have gone a year to acquire that one as well, but the fact that it's on YouTube and you can play it through your app on your phone, and it's better than Audible, I will say, because Audible sometimes just crashes and forgets where you are.
Do you know what the Audible problem is? See, if you've got it as one file, Audible has no problems if it's from your catalogue uploaded to it, because it's one file and it will remember where you are. However, if it's multiple files, say you've got disc 1 and you've got them 1 to 10, and you've got disc 2 1 to 10, disc 3 1 to 10, disc 4 1 to 10, and you've got them catalogued on your iTunes and you put them across, it puts all the 1s together, all the 2s together, all the 3s together, all the 4s together.
I used to have that problem with the Harry Potter books 20 years ago.
Do you know how I had to do it? I had to change my Audibles to music and then tell it to play it in order, so it would play track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you had to do it CD at a time.
I used to have that problem. I got a program called MP3 Tag, which actually lets you change the tags, which lets you change all the details, which is something I end up doing quite a
Well, I do that in iTunes, but even if you do that in iTunes, it makes no difference. Audible doesn't recognise them. All it does is recognise them all as the track number, and that is it.
That's just such a massive pain, but regardless of that, I went through quite a few of Heinlein's because I literally had nothing but time to spare when I was bedbound. So Stranger in a Strange Galaxy, How Space It Will Travel.
Stranger in a Strange Land, not Galaxy.
Stranger in a Strange Land. There's another Foreigner in the Galaxy. I was like half sleeping, half listening, but I got the classics. I got the main ones. How Spacesuit Will Travel, Starship Troopers, Moon is a Harsh Mistress, Citizen of the Galaxy. That's why I got the confusion in there. A few others, but I did come across someone, and I haven't even looked up his name, but he has like Colony 1 Mars is what the first book is called. And he's actually putting the books up himself. So this isn't someone just stealing it. It's him putting it up there. And it's like 6 books. Colony 1 Mars, Colony 2 Mars, Colony 3 Mars, Colony 4 Mars. And it's as best as I can tell, mind you, I've been under fever and all that nonsense, but as I understand it, Colony 1 Mars, failed project. Colony 2 Mars, didn't succeed either. Colony 3 also ran into
In
trouble.
effect, you're talking about it's Babylon 5, but in Mars.
It could be.
Yeah.
But I did manage to drag my lazy butt out of bed, and I watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners. After hearing it on Friday Night Tides, I believe it was last week, so not this week, last week.
Yeah,
or
I've been
one
hearing
of
a lot
those
of good news
suspects.
about that show.
I loved it. I loved the cyberpunk dystopia, but I thought the story was blitzing through a lot of things where it could have slowed down on areas, but sometimes when it could have sped up, it slowed down. It was still really, really good, and I enjoyed it. That's all I can say. It's like, wow, they can still make stuff if they want to.
Yeah. Yeah, well, anime's been hitting it out of the park for decades and decades now, and it was no surprise to me that it got such good press, even from the diehard cyberpunk fans. They were like, yeah, this is a solid piece of media. This is a great story, cool characters, and a classic dystopian, tragic end to the storyline as well. So all good news from what I've heard.
Even so, just the fact that they managed to bring a good story, whether where it's going like bad, wrong, horrible ending, good ending, happy ending, anime, just like you said, they've been knocking it out of the park for what, 15 years now, at least.
Yeah. Just for me, the surprising note with anime is Dragon Ball Z has been basically like a one-trick pony, but it's a one-trick pony that is now into, I think it's like 3 decades it's been on air, 4 decades it's been on air. It's unstoppable, and it's still producing more material, and all of the super fans are still happy with the material. So just that alone, and that's one property.
I heard Alex.
There's one property taken care of really, really well.
What were you saying, Colin?
I said I heard Alex's ears poke up when you said Dragon Ball Z there.
Oh, yes.
I know he's a fan.
Sure it's not Dragon Ball Z?
Well, yeah,
I'm said for us here.
I'm prepared to talk American.
Yeah.
Well, I just call it Dragon Ball anyway.
I was just saying, Kelly's saying that Bernard Cribbin's book won't be available until February. So because it's not available till February.
My mate bird, half the birds in the town hang around him with their skirt. He's in the middle because they gang around him. I don't like to tell of it, but I don't get the smell of it whenever I'm out with my mate birds. If he's got a nibble, he don't wanna know me. It's a cert. He knows where it's at, but he's not gonna show me. I'm just a second string while he goes and does his thing. He fakes it, they takes it, every time he makes it. My mate, but well, the other day I had this little darling in his shit. I commented on the fact that she was rather sexy, and he said, I'll get you one like her. A spitting image, he said. There it was her mother. Well, I mean, I don't mind, but there was a limit, I mean, we had 4 solid hours of bingo and then back to our place for an LP of Sandy McPherson. That's not exactly what's going on, is it? Eh? Oh, my mate, but
we all had one of those mates.
I think we all have.
Yeah. got a long list of the dogs that are liable. And one or two are so inclined, they're in red ink and underlined, been asterisked by my mate, but he kicks me around him for someone to score off, and it don't but what's he got in his bag that I haven't got more of? But I can't get a thrill myself. I think I'll go and kill myself. They rate him, I hate him. Why did God create him? My mate Bert. Ooh, that Bert. Hello, can I get a drink, darling?
Yeah, where's your mate Bert?
Oh, get lost.
I just thought I'd play that for Kelly, since she can't get the Bernard Cribbins book until February.
Yeah. Shall I show my pick of the week then?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
I've got this.
Good. I've got a bit of dust up there. Going to get it.
Good too, but I can't stretch that far to Scotland. No, I've got this with it, so I can dust off the models now. So
nice.
Speaking about Dragon Balls.
We were speaking about Dragon Balls.
Yes, Kelly. Here is the delicacy from Harry Potter.
Don't tell us. Don't snitch.
These were a birthday present from a friend.
Right, hold on.
These ages.
Right.
So that is the 7-star one. And the main, no, I think that was the 6-star. But this is the main one of the franchise, the 4-star Dragon Ball. So
have you tried summoning the dragon
you said
yet?
they were Harry Potter.
I have, but I don't know the magic password.
Hmm.
No, but I've had these years anyway, so it's a great shame they're not real. Could have been a billionaire.
Alex summons the great dragon of mystery and asks him, "Could you make me feel better?" He goes, "Well, I could make you immortal." No, I just want to feel better. That'll do. Well, I could make you impervious to all illness for the rest of your life, and even make you immortal.
That'd be a day and a half, especially that one with the key.
And anyway, who and nowadays in the current year, who wants to live forever?
Good point.
Actually, Jim, if you've
That's
done,
a query Queen asked like 50 years ago. Who wants to live forever?
Jim, if you're on a Highline type binge, I recommend this one. If you haven't read it,
Why is it no showing there? It's there.
There we go.
Oh, the Forever War's great.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that is literally what I was gonna go to sleep to tonight.
And something else I discovered that I haven't got around to reading yet. Newly out. Where are we?
And a tick tock.
Right, sorry, I didn't see it there. It's there.
That's it.
For us, the living, yes, that was part of my very early teens when
I don't think I've actually read that one.
No, I haven't. If that's the one when I saw that, that's apparently the one that's only just been published. That he wrote before he died, but it's never been published.
I think it's actually been around, but it hasn't been the officially published one. But I know we're coming up on the top of the hour, and sadly, Stephen will be running like a rat from the burning ships of Rings of Power, where they apparently can fit 100 horses in Hermione Granger's like small backpack.
Yeah, I saw this review of that. Yes.
Yeah.
Such a shame.
But let's plug you, Stephen. What are you up to? Anything fun? Anything fancy? Anything you want to recommend to the rest of the group and the people in the audience?
Well, First of all, I'm very, very much looking forward to Wednesday. Talking about the Blues Brothers would be an absolute pleasure. But we got John and Roman are doing Mixtape Mondays, and Roman will be captaining the Thursday show, which I think is going to be, yes, it's going to be the thing. We're going to do a retrospective on
the thing.
From book to black and white to feature film, and John will be torturing Roman, trying to discuss the 2011 prequel, which Roman abhors with deep passion as usual. So that'll be a gas. Both those shows are usually a lot of fun.
That prequel's called What the Feck Is That Thing?
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's 5 p.m. my time. God knows what hour of the morning your
5
time.
p.m. your time is 1 p.m. 1 a.m. our time.
Yep. For all those overnight bugs that want to check it out, the replays are usually fun.
Yeah, I usually catch it in the Friday morning.
And I may be doing an
I will
chill
attempt,
stream.
but since I've been off for a week being down with the man flu, I might need the time to sleep so I can catch up on the week's worth of backlog I have from my work.
Wow. That's got to be rough. But yeah, and Monday evening after that show, I've been invited to discuss some anime stuff. I think we're going to be scrubbing through the Ghibli catalog as just kind of a general overview.
I've not seen it, but oddly enough, the Lotus Eaters did a couple of streams on that, which was way outside what they normally cover.
It's probably the most grounded series of universes that of the anime genres. The Ghibli catalog is super wholesome and very, very grounded in Japanese culture. It's well worth a watch on any of them. I would highly recommend just about any one of the Ghibli films if you're interested in just scratching the surface on that.
Yeah. I was going to say, Jim, you definitely need to get a hold of this. I'm going to bring it up. Hold on.
What are you subjecting me to now? Oh yeah, I already had that one. I'm pretty sure that I produced like 50 bottles on my own.
Yeah, that's basically your cure for man flu.
Send me some, see if it works with COVID.
It's a hot shot. None of us are doctors, by the way. None of us at all here are doctors or pharmacologists. Or
Can you not cure man flu by identifying as a woman?
I'm saying nothing. Nothing.
I'm just going to have to say this, and let me try and get my camera on this. PJ, put me up on big screen if you can.
All
right. So I tried true and tested Viking cures. So I started with...
Wow, that's some bottle. God.
And then I went on to... neither of them worked. Neither of them worked.
Do you know what mead you need to get rid of man flu? You need Freyr's mead.
Yeah, I don't think I have that one, but yeah, these bottles would kill people if I dropped them.
If you were to fill one of them with
really
sand,
heavy.
you could really hurt somebody.
Point of
Not sure if it can be seen through the camera, but do you see how thick that bottom is?
I can.
Yep, you can see how thick it is.
Unbelievable.
Like,
and it's probably just an inflated
inch.
mold. That's
as
fantastic.
a sensitive modern person, I'm feeling really, really, really triggered by the fact that you're assuming the flu's gender.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I think I might possibly be taking the piss out of trans activists.
Well, gentlemen, let me let you guys get into the next chapter of the show. I've got to split. It's been a pleasure as always. More fun next week.
Thank you for joining us, and I'll catch you Wednesday.
Indeed. Have fun, guys.
Brothers, I need to dig out a hat and glasses, so I will.
You just need a good car and really good music, and maybe being brought up in an orphanage and all of that stuff. But yeah.
Well, I've got a better car than they had. No flashing lights,
But did you have the budget to crash? What was it? 116 police cars?
In my work, one guy, every so often, he turns up in his McLaren, but occasionally he'll turn up in a American police car, or he'll turn up in an old Indian, an old 1940s Indian motorbike, or he'll turn up in a Jeep. He's obviously a car collector, and one of the ones is an American police car. He turns up in, so maybe next time he brings it in, I'll nick it. Do the Blues Brothers, woohoo! But maybe not. Who knows? It was me. But so what are your plans for this week? What he's watching? What he's up to do? What he's doing? Because me, I'm watching this at the moment. I'm watching that.
Oh, me, I'm exploring something different, and I think I did when you were away, PJ. I showed that I got this one, this little bit of toy.
Yes, the basically a starter kit for your lighting and bits and bobs and building odds and ends.
Yeah, so programming and everything.
It's not a Raspberry or a Pi, is it? It's basically just the.
It's Arduino project, so you basically build it in like a small containment case. Yes, you do connect it to the computer. You program it saying like red, blue, green, whatever you want to. But this is my fever dream purchases when I was under the man flu. So I got a digital caliper. And I actually went a little bit above and beyond. So I got myself an entire Dremel kit.
I've got a Dremel, but my Dremel is not very good. I don't know why.
This is official brand, so it's.
I got a Dremel kit and I've got all the bits and pieces, but the Dremel just as if it's almost like the motor's burnt out. So it runs, but it runs very slowly, and I think it's just the motor's burnt out on it. So I need to get a new one.
And then I got one of these. So I have a proper base station. Where the hell is the camera?
You've got it. It's actually shown. Don't worry.
Don't have any
so proper drilling vertical station. All the fun bits, adding angles, drilling bits mabob. And if I add it with all the drill bits that came in this one, I should be able to treat any material I want to. And I didn't just get it just because, but I'm not sure if it's seen, where you can see the turtles in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I want to build like a diorama for them.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe looking like they're coming through one of those New York waste tunnels.
I can give you no instructions, but I can give you a bit of advice how to do the brickwork. Dead easy peasy.
I definitely have a lot of tools and toys. So
you need the. Do you know all you need? You need EVA, the floor mat, right? You need a blade, a hot gun, and you can get away with tinfoil.
I have all of them. Have any one of you actually come across? I think the ladies from Norway. They're called Nerdforge.
Mm-hmm.
She like last month she cooperated with Linus Tech Tips, and she built a cyberpunk PC computer case, complete with extra displays, spare functions. I have LED rings that they just there to cool it down. They can show lights as they do it because it's excess energy. But they built an amazing that looked like a corner store, like a city block, and it was absolutely amazing.
There's several channels I follow on YouTube which do modelling and background and that sort of thing. There's one of the guys just finished a 14-month project. They've done a massive, great, biggest Games Workshop vehicle.
That's not the 150k point guy, is it?
No,
it's probably. But Jim, do you know who to look up? Also look for D&D terrain making. They'll explain how to do like brickwork. So, like if you wanted a brick wall, how to make it very quick and easy, and how to obviously make it look as if it's been broken up, even though. So you could do what they do is in smaller scale, but all you do is you make it slightly larger to match, and you could do brickwork, and the brickwork's dead easy, just getting a wee blade and just scoring, and then once you've done that, you heat it. And it expands the thing so you look as if you've got a brickwork.
I'm already on that trick level because I follow another channel. So if you have EVA foam, and it is a fantastic material to work with, whether you want to do something for your patio, or if you're going to do cosplay armor, or if you're just going to do something to hang up on the wall, whatever it is, EVA foam is magic as material. And what you do with EVA foam, if you have a thin strip, you just take a razor blade and cut it, not all the way through, just a little bit in, and you draw a line, and then you take a hair blower, a heat gun, whatever it is, and you just run it over, and suddenly it expands, and you have one of these unique, distinctive lines coming in. You can literally see it expand.
That's all EVA foam there.
Yeah. And one trick I would actually add to this, and this is not saying, no, this was not good. It is charcoal dust. So you know the pencils you used to write with when you were in school? The actual charcoal, someone figure out if you open the pen, remove the wood, and blitz it into the remaining charcoal into oblivion, so it's super fine dust. If you just scratch it, it looks like soot, like a smudge or something. But if you start polishing it, the fiber starts following the same line, and it will start looking like silver or polished steel and everything. And I've even had police officers coming up to me with a balsa wood sword that they could tell that this is too flimsy to not be a real thing. But they said, holy crap, that really looks like the legit thing.
Yeah. EVA foam, there you go, different variations on it. The helmet, the gun, the shoulder pads, all EVA foam. And you can custom anything with it. So definitely EVA foam. But I used to do my Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I'm just actually trying to see if I've got a copy of that, because I built one, and it's roughly about. It's obviously a lot smaller for that, but all you need to do is bump it up a bit. It's just try to find it. That's the problem.
Are you going to be doing any water in there, Jim?
PVA glue.
No, you don't do that. You basically play around with acrylic paint most of the time. I'm not sure if any base coloring or any finishing is using water.
Are you going to have water effects? Because I've been watching some fantastic videos with people using, damn it, I forgot what it's called, a resin.
It's your resin, or you could use EVA if it's actually just for the thing. You can use EVA PVA glue.
But I mean, I saw one. There's one of the ones I saw was a guy, and he made a U-boat, and he got a model U-boat. He cracked it open, made the lot, and then he gradually filled it up with the resin.
You can, if you're going to cover it in resin, but that's okay if you actually want to do an underwater scene or something like that. But if you're doing one, it's just got something running down it like water. The PVA glue is better for that. You just a bit of blue in it, and it'll actually, or a bit of brown in it, and it will actually give you that.
I would say EVA foam is far too light to be used for a submarine. You would need heavy objects within it.
No, this was a model. This was the submarine was a model, and he got mine, and he literally cracked it open to the point. I mean, you reminded me of this because what he'd done. He'd got some. He got the mine's depth charges coming in, and he put them on wires, so hung them in, and then he'd actually got cotton wool. It pulled out, painted up at here and there as the explosions, and he'd actually put light inside that, so that when it was all sealed in the block, he could just switch the lights on, so it looked like explosions were going out. It was absolutely bloody amazing.
I know it won't be enough time tonight, but I will have to try and find an amazing diorama for you about Black 4.0. I know it will sound weird, but it is literally the perfect black. If you shine a light at it, it will not reflect the light back.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get the black one, I know. No, but I mean, it's just, I'm thinking if you're going to pour the water, like, and I've seen people do this when they literally, so they can pour it in. So, you can paint the riverbed, for example, then you just block off if you need to, and you just pour the resin in, and when it sets solid and clear, or you can put a little bit of paint in it to sort of stain it. But I don't know how much more if you're going to be doing it on, if you're going to be doing a sewer setting.
Yeah, you don't want it too deep, because if you want the models just to be standing on it or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But no, I would. What I used to do is when I was doing the terrain for D&D, it was PVA glue, because that way you've just got a surface stuff, and then it's handy for things standing on it, and it's not too deep. Because obviously, if it was wanting to make it a bit deeper, then the turtles would be up to their knee or something like that, so you would have that issue. Whereas quite light, it's not too bad.
Oh yeah. I mean, it depends what you're going for, doesn't it?
Yeah. And the good thing is you can get rats. You can get rat swarms from D&D games.
Yeah, well,
rats, individual rats. So even Warhammer, you can get like Skaven rats, and you get rat swarms. Probably about the right size for that, so you can have the rats running along the sewer as well. So things
I've got some. I had for. I mean, it depends what the size you want. Little ones with giant rats for Warhammer, or for
well, I had giant rats for Warhammer, which were ideal for figures for
and
that size.
Just ordinary size rats from Hero Quest and that. And I've got loads of that sort of thing somewhere.
Yep. So that sounds ideal, Jim. You need to actually document it the way we've been saying, and that way you can actually upload it to your channel. Taking pictures gradually, wee videos when you're making something, so you can see it starting, how it finishes.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to do that with your ship.
See, I do have the ideas. Give me a few seconds.
I wish I had actually, because I threw out a lot of my D&D stuff. I'd built a tower, and I just can't remember what I did with it. I'd built a tower, so I had pictures of it. So if I can actually remember. It will be in
So
the
I have
DMC.
this,
Aye.
which I have shown it before. I'm pretty certain, but it is a metal sheet that is literally cut out to become a 3D model, and it will form. Oh, there's actually a second sheet. So let me just show the two of them side by side. And I do have ideas, but I need to get myself a second GoPro. I do have my first one, but I just need to set it up so I can actually film from decent angles, so I'm not like leaning over constantly and you never see what I'm doing. So I can swap the camera angle so you see what I'm doing from the separate angle.
As a thought, can you wear a GoPro like you can wear a sort of, you know, like you wear a torch on your head, so you've almost got your eye view from it? Yeah, no. Can you? I'm just wondering, because I'm not sure I've seen them or not. Because it just occurred to me that if you do that, maybe you could actually, you know, you'd actually be able to film. I don't know what the focusing would be like. You're moving your head, but you'd actually sort of get your own angle for seeing it.
Yeah, you can. And GoPros are literally designed to be something you put on your helmet when you're riding a bike. You put it on your chest like a police camera thing. And they have, at least this one, has a really great angle if you set it to the widest. But obviously, if you're working on a desktop, you want to make sure that it's focused in and narrowed. And these ones can do it. I just need to get one or two more of these little guys so I can mount them up. So you get one angle from there, one angle from there, and one angle coming forward in. So you see where I'm doing it. And when I'm editing the video, I can go, okay, my arm was blocking what I was doing. I can choose one of the other two.
Yeah.
So it's still a setup. And GoPro Heroes are kind of cheap-ish. I think this was 60 quid.
Very ish, yeah.
But yeah,
again,
you still need to get a couple of them. And then obviously they weigh a bit. So you need the ability to have like a gorilla arm holding it. So you get the correct angle and it's not vibrating every time you like punching the table or doing something too rough. But yes, this is a build project I've been promising myself to try and get done this year. But it's not going to be a very big one. I don't even know if it's going to be noticeable. If you look at my latest collection in the background here, Jack-o'-lantern, it's good.
Something I've never understood Jack-o'-lanterns.
Well,
I don't know what
it's American holiday, but
yeah, I know it's an American. It's for Halloween.
I did get the bigger one, and it is the candy bowl. I should have loaded it up with batteries, but basically it's a hand coming up and going. It's like,
oh right, nice.
And it is not pressure sensitive; it's actually motion sensitive. So as soon as you reach your hand in to try and grab a candy, it will go.
Talking of which, did you see? I was watching Facebook earlier on, and apparently there's a new there's a new. What there's a new Monsters movie out.
Really?
Which apparently is actually quite good, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you
definitely have to check that one out then.
Oh no, is that the one that was an actually Rob Zombie movie?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie seems a little bit overkill because he's usually deep and dark in the stuff he does.
But if it is, it was one of the things I was saying. It's something he's been wanting to do for years. Unless I'm thinking of two, but I'm sure that's what I was talking about. I'm sure it was new because it was a newish I think it's Netflix. Was it on or something? Because I think it was Mega Geek was saying he'd watched it, but wow,
that was EVA foam. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Just basically just dumped it out. So I'll do that again. So that was basically done with EVA foam, and as you can see the brickwork I was telling about, Jim. All that is just scores, and then hot glue gun to sorry, not hot glue gun, a heat gun, just to expand the cuts, and then just running over it with tinfoil, just all crunched up to give it the pattern.
Yep,
So
it's super easy. I have about 10 kilos of EVA foam at home at the moment.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's basically keep doing that. I just get so far. It's just, but it actually, I'm just trying. I'll get the bit when it's actually got a bit better. With
well, yeah, I mean they've done it. I've seen. The other thing I've seen apparently you can also get is you can get glass rollers.
Yes, you can, but that's what I'm saying. Whereas that's just done, as you can see, it just mark cuts in it, and then just you can see the crinkle bits in it, and all that is just a crunched up a bunch of tinfoil, baking foil, and just literally heated up and then rolled over it, and then let it cool down, and it just get marks like that. It actually can come out quite well done when you can see the floor there, and the brickwork, as you can see there, all the way around. That's what I'm saying. So a bit of EVA foam, you think about it, you could actually do a bit of EVA foam, build the wall, and then cut the bits out, and then have them crashing through the wall or whatever. Fairly straightforward to do. So that's what I was talking about, just for doing a basic brickwork.
Well, I mean, it's definitely changed.
Kelly, thank you for joining us. I'll see you next time.
It's definitely changed since I used to do modelling and that.
Yeah, I started just doing it for doing costumes, and then I started doing it for D&D stuff. So I built a load of walls all over it, just so basically so I could just put walls down on the table, and we could have our dungeon. So it was literally so I had modular bits of brickwork. I built that one specifically because we were doing a tower one, so it got amended after that, because what I did was added wood round it. Actually, is that the bit I was looking for? Yeah, that's the bit there. You can see I made modular stuff. I just made modular stuff there like that.
Yeah.
And then you can see the walls there at the side. I made a lot of modular, but only put a couple of bits up here and there.
That's pretty much how I started as well. It's like, okay, basic 3D mapping.
Yeah,
build
but
a
that's all
dungeon.
done with EVA foam, and it's all basically patterned. There's woodwork there. There's brickwork there. There's the walls. As you can see, some walls are broken down. Some are just modular, just so they can represent a full wall. Then you've got pillars as well. But that's all just done. So I was thinking, like, if you're doing that for your thingy, that type of thing, what I was talking about, how you can make the wall quite easily by doing it like that. So it was. You see what I mean?
Yeah, so that what you're just showing me is literally part of the idea. I would like to have, where the turtles are, make that shelf looks like it's a New York City sewer pipe or whatever it is, a drainage, whatever you want to call it, and add the texture, a little bit of the grime, the slime, the whole thing. And that's why the tools I was showing, they will help me create that in one way or another. Will I be able to do it this weekend? Absolutely not.
No, God,
But in the next,
that's a couple of months build.
exactly. But it is the process of learning how to do it. It's for those of you that I know you, Colin, are definitely guilty of this. Watching the Lotus Eaters, crafting something with your own hands, building something. Once it's done, you have something for whatever the work you were doing to come out on the other end.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea. Don't know if it's going to be perfect. I have an idea. I have some thoughts. Maybe it's going to cost me a lot more than I think it will be. But especially what you just showed, PJ, you've added an extra layer to the plan I already have with making it look like bricks and mortar and that whole concept.
Aye, but that's all it was. It just started off as just a bog standard a D&D tower, and then I thought, oh, then I could build modular stuff, make it look like brickwork, and just go from there. And then what I did was after that, I added wood onto it, so it was almost like a shanty shed at the front. So it was added like that, and then put a bit of moss around it. And the moss, I've got boxes of stuff. It's amazing the stuff I've got in there for building that I don't use anymore.
Yeah.
It literally is. Let you see this. Let you see this. I'll dig it out. Right, look. Our camera. Right, this is just one of the drawers. So I just about from my cupboard. And apart from bits like me felt stuff, but you mean look. That's just moss, bits of grass, different coloured moss, and grass, trees, more moss, more grass, more trees, more moss. God,
yeah, I had a super passionate Warhammer 40k guy in a local shop here, west of London. Holy crap. I just went in and said, but I'm going to try Space Marines and whatnot and just have a couple of figurines, get back into the painting, the crafting. And holy crap, I went in there thinking I was going to spend 30 quid. I went out there with like 140 quid worth of material.
Yeah. And that dog, that's in my box, the same box. That's just the wee Drevel in there. And all the kit for it is in here. It's literally all in there for my Drevel. So, as I said, I used to use them and they're still sitting in there. And it's amazing how much you just build up and leave and ignore. So it is. But there you go. It's just one of those things. So if you're ever looking for moss and stuff like that, let us know and I could always ship some of that down. Because they're just sitting there and they're getting wasted. Otherwise, when I tidy my man cave, it's in the bin.
It's always good to know, but I've bought a lot of big equipment. But I do have a certain plan because I know I'm going to be stuck in this place for 2-3 years. So I need IKEA furniture coming out my wazoo to store a lot of the things, but also I would actually like to do something. So that's why I brought up tons of the stuff that I'm doing, because I like to learn about literally everything. It's the LEDs. How do they work? Can I program them? Can I make them do different colors? Can I make a different display sign? Can I do something around it? And I definitely need LED lights for my background because I do see my camera. I'm lit up like the pale ghost of Christmas past, but the cool toys in my background, they're just fading out.
Yeah, But that's the thing is, it's as you said, it's all the build up and getting things organised, ready to go. But definitely document it as you're doing it this time. Like you missed out to do with your ship. Now that would be.
Yeah, the ship was something I've been doing over the. Well, I think I got it in the beginning of the lockdown. If I'm gonna be honest, I think you have problem with your microphone, PJ.
How's that?
It's better.
Yeah, I'm probably hit it. But what I'm saying is, you think about it. If you'd even taken a picture every day, you were sitting at it. So you did a bit, you took a picture, did a bit, took a picture. You'd have been able to, so you could have people would have just seen it building up. It's one of those things. It's hindsight's great. How many times have we done something? Thought, I wish I'd recorded that.
Absolutely. That's why I got this GoPro that I was just showing off. It has time lapse. You can set it to take like one image every 30 minutes, and as a storage card for £5. If you take one image every 30 minutes, you can record like 6 months worth of it.
Yeah, I was going to say make an announcement, if that's all right.
No.
Iron Sky, such an amazing film.
Yes, we are doing this on the 27th of this month, hopefully. No, actually the 25th of this month. We'll be looking into Iron Sky.
Good.
So, but yeah, I just created it and it's all set up and ready. Just waiting on you, Jim, to sort out the opening.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. Didn't expect to catch man flu.
I can understand it. It has knocked us out of the park, hasn't it?
Yeah, it always does.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just to all let you know, the FFSI Unplugged is being moved to the beginning of November now. So
when in November?
That is a date for us to decide.
Because I'm away for a week and a half at the beginning of November. First 2 weekends and the weekend in between.
That is a date for us to decide decide after the show.
Because Jim,
please tell me you're not leaving me in charge again.
I'm leaving Jim in charge again.
Oh dear God!
For 2 weekends and a weekday. Although the weekday I might be available because that's the middle of the week. I'm rebuilding my man cave, so if I can get my stuff all up and running by the Wednesday, fine. If not, I'll just be tuning in via my iPad.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, so we're reviewing the Blues Brothers on Tuesday. All right,
Wednesday.
I have to download it. Wednesday, yeah. I'm not really out of whack on my days.
Aye, Wednesdays. Remember, Tuesday's yours, Wednesday's mine.
Yeah, funny enough, my mother walked in this morning and asked me what day
He said, sorry, Mum, pull the cover back up.
No. I said, she asked me what day it was, and I said, it's Saturday. And she goes, really? I thought it was Sunday. That's how bad she is.
I can't see anything because I do that at the weekend. What day is it? Sunday? No, it's not. It's Saturday. No, that's wishful thinking. You get an extra. You don't get 2 Saturdays and a Sunday. You get a Saturday and a Sunday, not 2 of each. But that's just my wishful thinking. I'm always wanting it to be Saturday. And a Friday I want it to be Saturday, and the Sunday I want it to be Saturday, and the Tuesday I want it to be Saturday.
Yeah.
I think I need a week of Saturdays.
I'm pretty sure we run out of things to talk about or catch up on.
Yeah,
but then again, this has been a spectacularly awesome fall, autumn when it comes to content.
Yeah, well, I'm actually okay. I've been this week I've been busy. Obviously, we watched Plebs, and Kelly, yes, if we do a Plebs one, I'll send you the link. Plebs is just superb. I'm going to watch season 2 and 3 this tomorrow because I've finished watching My Name Is Earl and I'm watching Superman the animated series. Then I've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer up. I've got V, the final battle, then the TV show.
Nice collection there, but if we go back to My Name Is Earl, You know the very rotund
Yeah, I know.
brother to
He's a builder. He's a basically bodybuilder now, but he is the
yeah,
most annoying.
he turned his life around from
Yeah.
completely like, yeah, you're going down the drain with drugs and alcohol and everything. But you were saying plebs before that.
Yeah.
And for me, I've been trying to get around to plebs for the longest time, but I got around to plebs just in time for when we were supposed to do plebs, and then man flu hit. And I was just laughing because it was basically when they were trying to do ITIL into the IT workforce back in the 90s, and saying, oh, this is how you have to do the processes. This is how you have to respond to a call. You can't jump to a conclusion because you already know the answer. You have to talk through that. And it always felt like that is what kept smacking these guys down. They knew the answer, but they had to wait to the opportunity before delivering the answer. I'm hoping I'm making sense, but it felt literally like the ITIL training courses I did in the 90s.
I must admit, I don't know if I don't see plebs that way.
For me, it felt that way.
They were basically, I suppose, like your typical, the underdogs trying to actually get into the cool hip places. It'd be like, I suppose, the Big Bang Theory. They're trying to be in with all the cool guys, and they're not. And it's along those lines. I would have seen it more. They knew how they were going to get treated just for the simple fact is they were the low rung of the ladder, but they were still always trying to climb. So, but it's definitely a
I agree, but it felt the way they were trying to climb the ladder was not how they were told to climb it. So they found their own way to do it, which was always the wrong way.
That's where you get the comedy aspect of it, putting somebody in the wrong place. That's a thing,
Yeah.
but it was a show set in ancient Rome with a lot of current day, for the time, current day situations. And it worked because they never tried to take themselves seriously because it was just a comedy. So they didn't need to actually suddenly have all the Roman bits and pieces. So instead of celebrities, they had the gladiators and stuff like that. Instead of raves, they had orgies and stuff like that. But it was the same principle. They were just trying to get in. It's like you can imagine the four of them.
Wasn't an orgy literally the second episode on the first season? It's like how to arrange an orgy.
The first episode. The second episode was the one with Danny Dyer in the first season, the gladiator one. And then there was other ones where they were invited to the orgy, but they were invited to be waiting staff and stuff like that. And one was Cream Boy, the Strawberries and Cream Boy. It's thingy, but it's just one of those funny ones, and it definitely I need to look into that again. But I only watched the first 3 seasons. Season 4 and 5 is the most funny because they changed the guys because the one that played Stylax, or something Fry. Was it Kevin?
Yeah, you told us he dropped out or
he left because he was looking for other work and he got other stuff on, but the guy they brought in just wasn't as funny because it changed the dynamic and there was a bit of a chav and it just didn't work for me. But Kelly was saying the same thing, and she was saying she only liked the first 3 seasons, same idea, for the same reason. They brought the new guy in, it changed the dynamics, and it just wasn't as funny. And I think that's where it is. But it's something I want to look at again. What's that one there? Barry Lett's Invisible Man at the moment. I've not seen that one. I haven't seen that one. Mind you, I like the old-fashioned Invisible Man, even the remake they did in the 90s. I didn't find it as good because they went down the stupid humour route, whereas the classic Invisible Man with the bandages. It was, for its time, the animation or the effects were really good, but it was more down the route of a scary one rather than
You mean the Invisible Man from Uncle?
Yes, in effect.
David McCallum one, yes.
Yeah, I didn't really like that one. Oh, no, the TV show was actually not as bad because I thought the effects and that were okay, and it wasn't seen. It wasn't a comedy. I'm talking about the movie they made.
Oh,
the movie they made, and it was a comedy, and it just did not work for me because
I remember
it's
that
too
one.
farcical. It's almost like the Fantastic Four, where the Invisible Girl suddenly would become visible, standing in her brand pants, going like that. They did it just for the haha value, rather than, you know what I mean? It was.
I mean, that scene was completely out of place with how the rest of the film was actually playing.
Yeah, and they did it only just so she would stand there with her brand pants on, just for a bit, rather than her being invisible. And it was to give you the haha moment, but also to go the moment. Look, she's wearing her brand pants. Ooh, isn't that fun? No, it's out of place in the movie, and it just put in a bit of stupid humour, which was irrelevant to it. But then again, the rest of the movie wasn't that great either. But some of the effects were good. But
what is it called? Chikalis? Stephen Chikalis?
Is that the new guy that's doing it?
No. He was playing back in that film. He was playing
The Thing.
The Thing, yeah.
I
always liked him because he was the commish back in the early 90s.
Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis, yes. And he did The Shield, where he's playing
Never liked
corrupt.
Believe it or not, it was too dark for me.
I know you have a weird strangeness with too dark, but you are calling yourself PJ Maybe. Who is PJ Maybe?
Oh, he's a psychopath. I'm aware of that, but
no, anything you say before but doesn't count.
It does, because Judge Dredd's villains were like a Spider-Man villain. They were villainous, but they weren't dark and creepy. And that's why I don't like these type of ones where I've seen The Punisher. The Punisher was okay, but I didn't really like The Punisher because he was an anti-hero and he was... But the characters in comic books were comic book villains. Same as PG Maybe, same as a lot of them, same as Call Me Kenneth. They were comic book villains. They weren't meant to be anything else. The ones when they do ones that are creepy villain, when it's truthfully, when they try and do something that's true life, I don't care. I don't want to watch true life. I want to watch fantasy life. So I like my.
I want a comic book villain as well. Yeah,
I want a comic book villain. I don't want a villain that could be you turn around the corner and they could be standing right next to you, because who cares? I want to be taken away from the shit world we've got into a fantasy world where you've got heroes and villains, which are very. It's the same as Superman. My least favorite Superman villain is Lex Luthor, and it's because there's no bounds to if he's good or bad. You know he's bad, but he could be good depending on who you talk to. It's that type of thing. I've always disliked villains like that.
But it is because Lex Luthor, and this is where you and I have had plenty of discussions over the last, what are we now, year and a half. I like a little bit of the knowledge about the villain. I just don't want something coming out like around the corner and just smacking Superman across the head with an iron skillet. I want something more. Why did he attack? Was he desperate for money? Did he try to steal or rob something? It's the same with Spider-Man.
Whereas I don't.
Most common tropes that Spider-Man has is you start the comic book, he's swinging across New York and strings up 3 to 7 guys in a spider web because they were trying to rob a bank.
I don't care why they were robbing it. I don't care about how they became villains. I don't care about their backstory.
Exactly. When they did drive-by for the hero, but when we start talking about Doc Octopus,
I don't care.
I want to know a little bit more. What happened? Where did that go? Where did that come from?
Yeah, but
because he's not a
how he became
thug.
a supervillain is one thing, but I don't care what happened in his story, his life story, bringing him up to the point where he got the arms fused to his back when he was trying to commit a crime. I just want to know that he was trying to commit
He wasn't trying to commit a crime when it was fused to him.
Well, but you know what I mean? But I don't care about, from that point, what he did and he got it. I don't care about how he got brought up. I don't want to see him as a kid and he brought up and how this happened to him. And
No, I don't want a standalone Doc Ock film.
But as I'm saying, I don't care about all that. All I know is Doc Ock and he's Doc Ock, end of story. I don't care about what he was. Or he was a
if I then flip it to the other end and place it in the mortal realm, and we're talking Mr. Sandman or Sandman.
Same idea.
He wasn't a superhero or a supervillain. He was just trying to save his kid and got accidentally mixed up in bad crap.
Yeah, but to me, he's a villain. I don't care. I literally do not.
Are you a villain trying to save your own kid?
Is catch him and put him in prison. I don't want to hear his sob story. I don't care.
But are you a villain if you're trying to save your own kid?
Yes, if you do it by robbing banks and stealing from people, yes, you are. End of story.
Stealing from people, yes. Banks couldn't care less.
Banks, it makes no difference. You are still stealing from people. The bank's not just sitting there and nobody's looking after it. So the guy who's guarding it, the guy whose job it is to lock it away, they're all responsible for it. So if you're robbing from them, you're robbing from them. You're not robbing from a big. Oh well, why don't we? Just
this is going to be the massive area where we disagree. Amazon. Because for me, banks are thieves.
Amazon, so why don't I just go break into Amazon and steal all the stuff? It's only a big company. Who's going to care?
No. I'm not talking about big company. I'm talking about
a bank. A bank.
No. Amazon wants to try and provide you with a service.
No,
a bank, you miss your payment by a day, they will come clawing with law enforcement officers and everything and saying, you owe us this money.
That's where I store my bank.
The bank owe you money.
That's where I store
you will
my
get
money.
it in 6 months' time.
No, but that's where I store my money. I want to get my money in. If somebody steals my money from the bank, it's my money they're stealing, not the bank's money. Mine.
I think we need to.
If we don't all put our money in the bank, then the bank would have nothing.
Sorry, PJ. Sorry, PJ. I think we need to watch a film called Maverick.
Nope.
Yes, we do, because the bank doesn't have your money; it has its money.
No,
you just happens to be borrowing money from them.
The bank has got my money in it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does, because my salary gets put into the bank and I draw from my salary, which is my money.
Yeah, it's still not your money.
It is my money. Because I can go and draw the whole lot out if I want, because it's mine. I can't draw more than what I have in the bank out because that's not mine. But my money is my money.
Yeah, I will say this, since you are the money pincher,
into the bank.
Go into your bank on Monday morning and demand to extract your entire account's worth in gold, and they will tell you.
Because I don't want it in gold. Why would I want it in gold? If I was
because gold is the way.
No,
the money that is worth. Yes, the legal tender is measured by the bank's amount of gold that it carries.
That is the back end tender. It's not legal tender. I can't go into a shop and say, here's
Yes,
a bit
it's
of gold.
legal tender.
No, it's not, because I cannot go into a shop and buy 20 cigarettes and give them a bit of gold and they go, thank you very much, no problem. That is not legal tender. It's
legal tender.
It's not legal tender. The coin of the realm
You
is
just
legal
have to
tender.
take one step beyond. You have to sell the gold.
No, they
that the
so
bank.
hard to sell it to get money, which is legal tender.
Yes,
So the gold is not
and you're
legal
letting
tender.
someone
The
else be in
gold-
charge of your actual money's worth, and you're
But the
trusting
bank-
them, not asking them to prove, here's the actual value of the money you're storing with us.
I don't
If you
care
went
about
into your
the
bank
gold
tomorrow and
value.
said,
That is irrelevant.
give me my month's salary
If
in
I got
gold,
2,000
they
in-
will
Why
tell you
would I
to
want
go
it in
away.
Gold, I would tell them to go away if somebody says to me, give me that 20 quid you owe me in gold. I would say, bug off.
While
Gold
you
is
guys
not
are
legal
arguing
tender.
economics,
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Yeah, we're going.
I'm going to have to drop off as well, mate.
No problem. We'll be finishing up anyway.
I'm probably
We're going to
too
be finishing
souped
up in
up
5
on
minutes.
cough
We're
syrups
finishing up in
anyway.
5
But
minutes.
PJ,
Alex,
for once, you're wrong.
gold
And
is
I'm
not
also
legal
wrong.
tender. I'll tell you
But
what.
we'll
take
discuss
your
it
ring-
later on.
Take your ring and go to the shop and buy a bottle of beer with a gold ring. Let's see if you can actually buy it. And get change back, because gold is not legal tender. It is desired. And if you've got gold, you can go to the bank or go to
No, gold is the actual value of the
not-
paper note that you present to
No.
someone else to trade for goods.
No, it's not gold. Gold is what they use in certain things, but it's not. It is the trust of the government. The government back the tender, the legal coin of the realm tender. Gold is not legal tender. If gold was legal
Cam
tender,
just put it perfectly in the chat.
if gold was legal tender, you could walk up to a shop and give them a bit of gold, and they would give you.
No. PJ, what I'm trying to say is, you go to your bank, Lloyd's or a Scottish bank or whatever it is. You go to your bank and say, "This is my salary. Give it to me in gold." I should be able to walk up. No, hang on. I wasn't finished. I wasn't finished, PJ. You should be able to walk across the street with that weight and hand it in to the next bank across the street, and they should give you the exact same number back in paper bills, but they won't. They can't.
Gold is irrelevant there because gold is not legal tender. It is highly sought after, and at one point,
No. Gold is what determines the value of the paper bill you hold in your hand.
It is the government's promise to give that its value.
Guys, I'm going myself.
Right,
so
Alex,
sorry.
I'll catch you later. I'll see you Saturday and Wednesday.
I'll be back on Wednesday, yeah.
It's been good. And sorry I dodged your calls.
No problem, but the thing is, I'll see you on Wednesday. Hopefully,
Definitely, you take care of yourself. We're going to be finishing up in 2 minutes anyway, so we are.
Should I stick around for 2 minutes longer, or?
Well, literally, all I'm going to say is right. You've actually said about when your next tour. Wednesday, ladies and gents, it is
Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers, and Saturday we're back here again, and I'm still in charge. No matter what he says, him earlier.
Oh, thank God!
Right, but no matter what we agree on and disagree on, we can always all agree in one thing: we're all a bunch of geeks, and we actually stick to our guns.
Yeah, this is high chaparral.
So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, lads and lassies, thank you for sticking with us. And we will catch you again on Wednesday. So until then, remember, I'm not old, I'm classic. PJ maybe, and the guys out.